YouTube. Come on, where's the chat? Where's the chat? Come on. Wow, why is everything on 0? On Restream. There we go. Okay. Alright, yeah. Changing thumbnail on YouTube. Did the word extremism get censored? That's weird.
Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the CanaryCry News Talk live stream pre-stream, and I'm back, baby, and so are you. We got a great show today, and I'm here to talk to you about a very important topic, and that is CanaryCry.Party. It's your number one place, one-stop shop for all things Canary Cry. Are you looking for social connections to other Canarians around the world? CanaryCry.Party. Are you looking for other places to watch the live stream and subscribe to the podcast? CanaryCry.Party. Are you looking for street team resources where you can print out unique, one-of-a-kind flyers to turn your community on to Canary Cry News Talk? CanaryCry.Party. That's right, everything you want, everything you need is at CanaryCry.Party. So go there, do that. Today, a very special day in that it is an opportunity. We have an opportunity presented to us, dear producers out there. When one independent media creator might consider low producership a problem, I consider it an opportunity to invite other producers. Maybe you haven't produced in a while. Maybe you've never produced and you want to get demooched. Today is a great day to get demooched, baby. Head on over to CanaryCry.support or go to CanaryCryNewsTalk.com/support or CanaryCryRadio.com/support. Any of those places will give you an opportunity to produce the show, to keep independent media truly independent. All right, well, we're going to get the show started here, folks. So stick tight, sit tight, sit tight, sit tight, and stay hydrated. Okay, let's get the show started. You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. We are live to tape today, which is May 9th, 2022. This is episode 482, and today, hybrid extremism. And razzle dazzle, I am your best buddy Basil. Uh-oh. Gonz, there's trouble in Little Cabana. Cabana Boy seems to be muted on the live stream. That's what I'm seeing. How
about now?
I don't know. You got to say something. See the people.
Okay, well, I'm back. There we go. How's that sound for live streamers?
We
I had
are
a little
finding
issue.
out.
I realized I turned myself off at the or had myself on in the intro from the last episode, so all the back end secret words were being broadcast. So I had to turn myself down, and then I forgot to turn myself back up. So howdy, folks.
Why don't you tell people who you are again, just in case?
Okay. Well, my name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy.
There it is.
Working on a 10. Here to serve you a podcast that brings you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with the well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And I hope everyone had a happy Mother's Day. That was the part that everyone missed.
Yeah, it's good.
Right.
I'm all fired up now, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well, I did have a good Mother's Day, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Because today we are jumping right in. We are, if you're here for the news, mainstream corporate news analysis and deconstruction, you'll be happy to learn that we've got just a quick little intro on Elon. We're going to be catching up with the Roe versus Wade culture clash going on around the world. We've also got more giant robots you're going to want to hear about. Of course, we'll be checking in with Ukraine and Russia and some truly delicious and egregious reporting on Putin's Victory Day parade or whatever it's called.
Putin.
Putin on the Ritz.
No, I'm joking, Susan, since we're back on.
He's only carrying water for the United States government.
USA.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
We've been getting more revelations on the COVID counting that has been happening around the world and just how some other countries are feeling about that. Of course, TikTok, some more news about that. Newsom, it's going crazy, man. Aliens, Antarctica, it's a great show. But we're going to start out with a quick few lead stories here. Gonz, what do you got?
You are already sort of a cybernetic symbiote. Neural nets are taking over from regular programming. So you are connected.
FoxNews.com. Elon Musk sets internet on fire with cryptic tweet about dying under mysterious circumstances.
Yes, this was fun.
You think it was fun? You think he's having fun just toying with the emotions of millions of people? Including his own mother. How dare on Mother's Day.
It was fun for me. It was fun for me to watch the world melt down.
There's lots of things melting the world down.
This was a little bit of a signal, I felt, to the conspiracy theorists. I mean, come on.
Well,
he's giving a little wink and a nod here, but why don't you tell us about it?
He's listening to the show, so he's getting his info. With the Freemason reference a couple episodes ago. Tesla CEO Elon Musk ignited a firestorm on social media by suggesting that he might die under mysterious circumstances. While some on Twitter rushed to the conclusion that he might fear the Clintons. I like how that's just the lead. Like everyone just assumes Clintons, right? Yeah, elite people afraid to die, Clintons.
Yes, and you gotta love it too, because it's Fox News. Because if this was any other outlet, they would say,
unfounded conspiracy theories about Clintons.
Right, they would give some context. Well, some Twitter rushed to the conclusion that he might fear the Clintons based on Basil's conspiracy theories about blah, 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 blah. Right. It's Fox, so they don't even give the context. They're just like, we all know. We all know what this means.
Yeah, but according to Fox, it seems the CEO may have been referencing a potential threat from Russia. And the whole tweet here, quote, "If I die under mysterious circumstances, it's been nice to know ya." Musk, who is also the CEO of SpaceX and who recently, we all know that. When Musk's mother, May Musk, responded, "That's not funny." Her son replied, "Sorry, I will do my best to stay alive," which is this strange sort of family, like public. Anytime people are putting family communication out on Twitter, I'm very suspicious, as most people would be. Especially,
it was adorable.
I thought you are just
adorable.
You
Mother's
love the
Day
Kool-Aid.
interaction.
You swallow the technocratic juice. It just goes right down in your.
Just saying,
VR
it's
headset.
an adorable interaction between a mother and her son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, her mother, who is very strange, very occultic, Illuminati symbolism all over. For those of you watching, she's done all the, she's like a model. So she's done all these photo shoots.
Like a model. She is a model.
That's what I said. She's a model. So she's done these photo shoots. There's one where she has a rose over one eye. and all that kind
I'm
of
not
stuff.
saying that Mae Musk is not some sort of Illuminati priestess. I'm just saying it's a cute interaction between a mother and son. Oh, I might die on mysterious circumstances on Mother's Day. That's not funny. Oh, sorry, mommy. I'll try to stay alive.
So there you go. I mean, there's not much to break down with it. It's just one of those. And the Fox article here does bring up another possible connection. Others referenced a tweet from John McAfee on October 15th, 2020, in which the computer programmer and antivirus software producer stated that he had no intentions of committing suicide after he was arrested in Spain on tax evasion charges. And then he was found dead later, right? There was a...
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, so...
Right, it's a reference. That's what I mean. It's a fun little reference to all sorts of conspiracy theories. I mean, it's a reference to Epstein's quote unquote suicide. It's a reference to John McAfee's quote unquote death/suicide. It's just a reference. I mean, he's making a little joke about how he knows too much and how he's rattling the cages of the elites and how he's such a little rascal that they might just take him out, which we don't know. I mean, that's giving himself a lot of credit to be on the good guys team. Yeah.
Well, but that's part of probably the narrative building here. Elon has clearly become a champion of the conservatives, so he would lean into that. I'm seeing him lean into it more as we sort of go along here, and then he becomes CEO of Twitter and all that stuff. So just something to keep in mind. Not a super big main story, but this is a big thing, and everyone's talking to Elon, so thought I'd mention it at the top here. But
that's what we do here. Talk about what everybody else is talking about.
but do it better.
Canary Cry News Talk, the same stuff.
No, but better. It's the same stuff, but better. Which makes it not the same anymore.
It's not the same. It's not the same, folks. Just wait for the Antarctica segment.
It's the same, but very different.
It will kill.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
Yeah, I have. We're going to start off with this whole abortion topic here and the leak and all that kind of stuff. This is from MSNBC, a panel with Amy Hagstrom Miller, who says some interesting things about who the bad guys are.
You just heard Michelle refer to the anti-abortionists as terrorists, and she has a point because the quote-unquote people who call themselves pro-life, they achieved this through violence. When you look through I'm old enough to remember that in the 80s, anti-abortion protesters began bombing clinics, threatening doctors. By 1990, 1,000 abortion doctors had quit. 84% counties nationwide had no abortion clinic. You are an abortion provider. What does this ruling mean for you?
So Michelle is right, and I'm thankful to be here, Tiffany, this morning with both Michelle and Nancy. There is violence, and it is terrorism, and I think it's very important for us to recognize that it is Christian extremism that is at the root of this shame and this stigma that allows laws like this to pass, that allows justices like this to be confirmed, and this does not represent the majority of feelings and beliefs of people in this country. Everybody knows and loves somebody who's needed an abortion in their lifetime. This is not how any of us want people who need our compassion and our dignified care to be treated at any point in time. There's no way that half of the country should lose access to safe abortion care because of a law like this. It's time for people to speak up, and it's been time for people to speak up, and our clinics and all the independent clinics I know across the country are trying to do as much as we can to stay open as long as possible and welcome as many people for compassionate care as we can.
I love how they call it compassionate care.
Christian extremists.
Christian extremists are the bad guys, Basil.
Have there been reports of
those
abortion clinics exploding and stuff recently?
Yeah, Reuters, Wisconsin, anti-abortion center targeted by arson. Police say, wait a minute. Hold on.
That's opposite, Gonz.
No, let's see real quick here. What does it say? The office of a conservative Wisconsin anti-abortion group was set on fire on Sunday. Police said days after it emerged that the Supreme Court is poised to reverse a landmark decision ensuring abortion rights nationwide. Oh, so wait, hold on. I thought the Christian... Why would Christian terrorists set on fire a conservative Wisconsin anti-abortion group building?
I see what
that
you're
doesn't
doing.
make
here,
much
Gonz.
sense, man.
I see what you're doing. It's a very funny joke. Yes. Well, I want to go. Yeah. So obviously, we've been seeing more and more violence in different forms towards the anti-abortion individuals and organizations. But I love this work. It's kind of an interesting throwback to like, it feels very 90s to me.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, the Christian extremists are putting us in danger because of a legal courtroom happening. And yet, the fires are being started in the anti-abortion offices.
Yeah.
And more, in fact.
Well, it's interesting because they show a graphic from that clip we just played. There's a graphic on the screen, anti-abortion violence from 1977 to 2013. And the anchor there was talking about like, oh, you know, these bombings and explosions and all this kind of stuff. But it's kind of a moot point because if it all happened, especially like in the 80s and 90s and stuff, that means where we are now is basically like you guys won, right? Like all that stuff was the reason why all the abortion stuff happened the way it did. And then so to use that as an argument of like, oh, it's a threat. I don't know. Yeah.
It's culture war.
Culture war. We've been chanting. Half the show has been chanting stuff recently. I guess it's election year.
Did you start a good chant last episode?
I might have. I think I did. I think I did lean on some chants. So yeah, producers who might remember, I think I did lean on a couple chants at one or two points.
Chanting. Yeah. If the show slows down, you just start a chant, baby. Yeah, that's what we learned from Elizabeth Warren. Yeah. So of course, the ramping up of the narrative by the mainstream that the Christians are violent extremists, and this is going to. It's kind of the same Trump argument, which is, oh, if the president is Trump, then racists will get to be racists. Well, if the Supreme Court is anti-abortion, then the Christians will get to be anti-abortion, I guess. Extremists. It's just love it. Love the culture war. It doesn't make
any sense.
You got to scare the Democrats into voting.
That's exactly what this is in terms of MSNBC, their core audience. They're barely hanging on to. But anyway, there you go. There's some other things that happened. The SCOTUS justice's home being targeted by some pro-abortion protesters.
This was a big deal, actually.
Yeah, being compared to January 6th,
Yeah, they had to move. It was Alito, right? They had to ferry him away, whisk him away to a safe house.
Yeah,
because his life.
We're talking about which was it, Kavanaugh?
I believe it was
or
Alito.
Roberts or Alito. Oh, okay.
I believe Alito was the one who needed to get taken away and brought to a safe location because not because of the Christian anti-abortion extremists, but because of the left, who are really just peaceful protesters.
Of course,
this is putting the life of a Supreme Court justice in danger. If you go by the standards of like CNN, I'd say mid 2020. Threatening the life of a Supreme Court justice, going to his home, making threats. It's all a legitimate form of protest, Gonz.
I know, yeah. Well, Jen Psaki had something to say about it on her way out, by the way. This is her final week, isn't it? I think the new lady, the gay, what is it? What is she? Gay, and she's black, yes. Gay, black, secretary. White House press secretary, starting Friday the 13th.
Which this change has been moved up. The timeline has been moved up.
It has
a few times. At first, Jen Psaki was going to stay until August.
So they moved it to Friday, May 13th, the Friday the 13th. Interesting.
Yes,
lovely.
Right.
So anyway, Jen Psaki tweeted out. Period at POTUS strongly believes in the constitutional right to protest, but that should never include violence, threats, or vandalism. Judges perform an incredibly important function in our society, and they must be able to do their jobs without concern for their personal safety. Which is like, okay, I mean, that's as mild or at least objective of a take that we've heard from Jen Psaki in a while. So maybe she's settling down.
It's funny. The definition of terrorism is, causing fear for political reasons.
Right.
And that's exactly what's going on with Justice Alito and the rest of the justices, which is you've got literal terrorism,
domestic terrorism taking place against our officials, our elected officials.
They're not elected, but social.
Oh no, you're right. That's the
Supreme Court justice.
Yeah,
and yet it is the Christian extremists that we have to watch out for. Now, I want to go over to this Wapo article because what is better than reading the Washington Post when trying to get just a full heaping dose, perhaps even a booster or two of the mainstream narrative being built around any certain issue. And this is from Washington Post. The headline is the law enforcement may fully unleash its data collection tools on abortion. Ooh, data collection tools, Gonz.
Don't they already do that?
This is what I'm going to love so much, reading this article to you, and we can take it step by step. Happy Thursday, they start out. This is, by the way, this is analysis by Cristiano Lima with research by Aaron Schaefer at the Washington Post. Happy Thursday, the article starts out. It's May 5th, so be safe out there while celebrating World Password Day.
Hey, that's offensive to Mexicans.
Cinco de Mayo. Baby. Being World Password Day?
Yeah. Why just ignore the hardworking Mexicans in this country by making it all technocratic World Password Day? Get out of here.
It really is kind of a weird... why would they choose that day? Maybe it's because there's been a long history of people celebrating Cinco de Mayo down at their local, person of color owned restaurants and then forgetting their passwords or perhaps giving their passwords away. Anyways, below, Connecticut has a new data privacy law and Republican senators grilled the DHS secretary over its disinformation board. But first, law enforcement may fully unleash its data collection tools on abortion. A draft opinion showing the Supreme Court may be on the verge of overturning the constitutional right to abortion. First of all, it's just fun detail. There is no constitutional right to abortion.
Right.
But if you're in the mainstream narrative, you are being told this. Now, the Roe versus Wade, as I've explained on this show many times before, it's not about abortion. It's about privacy between you and your doctor. And it was used, the upholding of the right of privacy between you and your doctor is used and applied to the procedure called abortion. So when they say overturning the constitutional right to abortion, they're not necessarily telling an untruth. No, rather, they're not telling a lie, but it is not necessarily the whole truth. So there's no constitutional right to abortion, but there is constitutional right to privacy between you and your doctor, and that's what Roe versus Wade is. Which,
by the way, and I did ask the question on Twitter, if they do reverse it, how does that change any kind of vaccine mandate?
Vaccine mandates, and that's the secret storyline going on underneath this Roe versus Wade story, and that's why there's such a great
misdirection of the conservatives.
Such a talented misdirection going on by the mainstream media here. So overturning the constitutional right to abortion could soon turn a routine activity. Abortion, apparently, according to the Washington Post, is a routine activity for women across the country into a potent legal tool for law enforcement agencies going online. If finalized, the leaked draft opinion published by Politico on Monday is expected to trigger a wave of expanded abortion restrictions across the country, which in turn could embolden authorities to step up legal demands for the personal data of women. One likely target is the information collected by internet service providers, which privacy and civil liberties advocates say has been used in the past by agencies to identify individuals, verify their location, and connect them to relevant groups.
Connect them to relevant groups. Interesting.
What does that remind you of? Perhaps what the Democrats have been rallying for in regards to January 6th? Are they referring?
Oh, I mean, every narrative that they've peddled out there. Yeah.
To being able to track down, verify the location, and connect January 6th participants to, white supremacist groups. Well, the tides have turned. For women who may still seek abortions amid an expected wave of crackdowns later this year, it could mean that connecting to a wireless network at a health clinic or browsing related sites from your cell phone or desktop may create an opening for agencies to seize their data and mount a case. Quote, there is a long history of ISPs working relatively closely with law enforcement, said Justin Brookman, Director of Privacy and Technology Policy at Consumer Reports. Okay, so real quick, they're painting an interesting picture here. They're saying if abortion gets outlawed in your state, if you visit an abortion clinic in your state and connect to the wireless network, or perhaps your GPS data shows your visit to the abortion clinic, then you may be in trouble. Well, if the abortion laws get clamped down in your state, why would an abortion clinic even be open and allowing you into their building? That technically would be a problem if your state is not allowing abortions and you are visiting an abortion clinic. But
no, we must provide health care.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying, in this script, this situation that they are creating, this is now an illegal abortion center. And if you go to an illegal baby killing factory,
that is interesting. They just said, connecting to a wireless network at a health clinic. They don't say that that health clinic, if you're there for an abortion or inquiring about an abortion in an illegal, a place where abortion becomes illegal, then you're basically
in this picture that they are painting. They forget to mention that the abortion clinic that the woman is visiting would be an illegally operating health clinic.
It's only illegal in the eyes of the white supremacists, Basil. So come on.
I'm not trying to make a point there. I'm just trying to paint a clear picture. Yep. Haley Tsukayama, a senior legislative activist at the Electronic Frontier Foundation, said law enforcement agencies are no strangers to these practices, but they may find additional ways to deploy them as states impose greater restrictions on abortions. Quote, it is probably less about them gaining more access to some of these private companies or to be able to compel companies to turn over information, said Tsukayama, a former technology reporter for the Washington Post. Since they already can access users' data more broadly, they may use those tactics to obtain abortion data, she added. Abortion data.
Yeah, what?
It's not location data.
No.
It's not text messages between you and someone talking about where to get an abortion. It's not you posting a celebratory GIF on your Twitter after your abortion. No, it's obtain the abortion data.
Yeah,
the new rules will put a microscope on decisions by telecom giants such as Comcast and Verizon that may find themselves in a political minefield if pressed to fork over data from their customers to build an anti-abortion case. Quote, it is very likely that we see more pressure on companies to turn over that data, Tsukayama said. Okay, so we've gone through about 4 paragraphs that are just repeating the same thing. Mm-hmm. Your data may be used in the same exact way that it's been being used for a while.
Right.
Cynthia, let me skip down a couple little notches here. Cynthia Conti-Cook, a technology fellow at the Ford Foundation, said law enforcement agencies in the past have often used warrants for geofencing data, which can be used to link individuals to a specific location to connect people to cases. They have even been used commercially, she noted, including by advertisers targeting people at Planned Parenthood. Another way in which law enforcement can use data from internet service providers to build their cases, Conti-Cook says, is to collect information that can link an individual to a specific computer or IP address. Quote, it is very clear how probable and how accessible a lot of these tools are, she said. There are broad sources law enforcement agencies tap into to get data from suspects, including phone carriers, social media platforms, search engines, and third-party data brokers. Privacy advocates say they are all likely to see more demands if Roe v. Wade is indeed overturned. But Conti Cook said connecting to the internet through a personal device can pose unique risks because it can tie a web of people to an activity. That could create heightened legal risks in states that seek to criminalize not only those who get abortions, but also those who provide them or facilitate the process.
This is the Texas thing.
The Texas thing. And which is interesting because, again, if abortions are illegal, they're going to go after the providers first. If drugs are illegal, what are they mainly focusing on? Finding the drug dealers. Sure, if you get caught with drugs, then they're going to, do whatever. Depends where you are. They'll get you for it. But their main focus when it comes to investigating and seeking out and getting warrants and taking action is for providers of drugs. If you, got some weed in your house or something and are not, some sort of dealer, they're not going to be busting down your door to come get you. But they are flipping this reality on its head within the Washington Post, not because the Washington Post wants you to, fear that your provider may be taken down, but because they want it to make it about you, the Washington Post reader. This is not a risk to doctors. This is a risk to you. Mm-hmm. When in all reality, if abortion becomes illegal in your state, there will be no abortion clinic for you to visit. This is a complete piece of theater that they are creating in order to, scare Democrats into voting in the midterm elections. Now, and that's pretty much the end of it. I mean, they talk about Connecticut's new privacy law or whatever. But that was the entire article. And it was many paragraphs, repeating the same thing over and over and over and over, which is law enforcement has access to your data, and then flipping the script. Not that your abortion provider will be closed if it becomes illegal. Right. It's that
just keep going, but the government, they're going to spy on you. It's like, if it's illegal, the government's probably going to crack down on it. Duh.
So, and this is being reported over and over and over. And, I was talking to some people over the weekend who are, normal people. They're normies. And they were trying to tell me, they were excited to tell me, do I know about how dangerous privacy laws are or how fluid they are and how the government can use them? And I say, why, yes. Yes, I do. Thank you. Why are you telling me this? And they say, many women nowadays, they use menstruation applications to track your menstruation and things like this, track the cycle. And many of these apps have been caught selling this data, this very, very intimate private data for lots of reasons. And I guess a list of these apps came out talking, these apps are willing to work with law enforcement based on their menstruation data. And I guess the fear is that through that menstrual cycle data, they'll be able to tell if you have an abortion or not. And the very idea that individual police units or whatever are going to be trying to track down individuals based on their menstruation data is complete lunacy.
It's just building paranoia.
It's building paranoia. As a professional paranoia addict myself, it really has given me an interesting look into sort of my own data tracking fears. And I am not mad that now, normal people, usually on the left, are becoming just as fearful about this. I think there is a world in which we can find some common ground and try to dismantle
it's a good olive branch.
Together.
Yeah, it's a good olive branch to that kind of thinking. The anti-technocratic, not in the political sense, but just a more principle approach to this kind of stuff. Philosophical. Yeah, there you go. All right.
So there you go. There will be more and more on this as it develops, but this is part of the big conversation.
Who's Gary?
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
That's right. It's Monday, and I'm back, baby. Gonz, I heard nothing but good things about your Friday show. Good job.
Thank you.
And I had a wonderful weekend. I was out traveling time and space, and there was a wedding involved, which was very nice. Not my wedding, a wedding of a good friend of mine. And it was nice to spend some time out in the forest celebrating the love of my friend. And I guess that's all there is to say about that.
Well, yeah.
I do have something else to say.
Okay.
Happy Mother's Day, of course. Belated Mother's Day to all the Canary Cry mommies out there.
Yep.
And I did, while I was out in the forest, recorded the intro for a Ravel episode about our mommies. It's Ravel, Our Mommies episode, where we celebrate mommies, and also both Dr. Chris and myself interviewed our own mothers for the episode.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you want to hear from Mommy Basil, you can go listen to the Ravel episode.
I feel betrayed.
What, you want me to talk to your mommy?
No. There was a point where I was like, hey, we should just bring your mom onto the Canary Cry News Talk. And we were like, yeah. And then like a day later, you have her on Ravel. Offended, bro. Offended.
Okay,
Triggered.
Sorry.
Triggered,
kind of fit the milieu of
I'm just kidding. I'm
Ravel episode a little bit more. But my mom can come and tell us the news if we want. We can start inviting our mothers to read articles for us.
Oh, that wouldn't go well on my end. But
okay.
Yeah, I'm just upset because although it was Mother's Day yesterday, and we had a great Mother's Day with my mother-in-law and my wife, and it was a great time. I walked out to my car in the morning because I was helping out the church, doing some tech. And I walked to the car, and the way my situation is where I live, I don't get to park my car in the garage. I got to park it either on the street or I can only do that a few times a month. I got to park it at the sky. It's just this big, long problem. It's been a long thing. I come to my car covered in eggs.
Oh,
just somebody egged my car to oblivion. I mean, just everywhere, like yellow, egg yolk gooing down from the window.
Yeah, I know what eggs are.
And there was a little bit of collateral damage on the cars nearby, but it looked like they were aiming for my car.
It's targeted.
Yeah,
huh?
I was like, what in the world?
A classic Mother's Day prank.
I guess. I mean, here's my thing, okay? Because I took the car through a car wash and it didn't quite come out because it had solidified a little bit. It was a little, over easy on my car there by the time I got it to the drive-through. But I was like, hey, what happened to the toilet paper? Why not just, because when I was a kid, that's what we did. We TP'd houses, we TP'd cars, as a mischievous thing to do in the middle of the night. We didn't egg people's cars. That was a step too far,
Is this Asian hate? Do we need to stop Asian hate?
I might have to put a sign on my car.
I'm Asian. Don't egg this car.
Are you making a racist joke with your egg reference?
No,
not you. The people who threw the eggs. The people who threw the eggs.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that is a hate crime.
It's a hate crime. So anyway, that was my weekend along with.
Well, I'm sorry.
The rest of it was okay, but yeah,
not nice of them. Mm-hmm. Well, Gonz, it is nice though. That is our executive producers.
Yes.
Executive producers.
That's right. We're on the value for value model, folks, where independent media truly is independent. That's right. We rely on no corporate money whatsoever. No advertisements, affiliate codes, partnerships, no nothing. When you partake in independent media, consider, what are they independent from? If they're taking corporate media, or they're taking corporate support or corporate advertising money, they are certainly not independent from the corporate monstrosity that is advertising. But here at Canary Cry News Talk, we have turned our backs on the traditional podcasting financing model because we don't want nothing to do with those Illuminati dollars coming from the lizard people. No, we don't want to use our platform, our show, as a tool for the establishment to convince you, dear listener, to spend money you don't have on things you don't need. Instead, it's the value for value model. If you get any value out of this show and you want to continue to receive value into the future, become a producer of the show. And that's what these executive producers have done. They've come in to put value back into the system because they first as a thank you, but then as a answering the call, the true responsibility that we all have for keeping independent media independent. And we have at least one executive producer here today, Gonz. Isn't that exciting?
It is very exciting, yeah. Who is it?
And you know him, you love him. He's come in recently a couple of times, and today he's coming again, and that is executive producer Redbeard.
Redbeard.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you, Redbeard. That's awesome.
Thank you very much, executive producer Redbeard. Now, Gonz, I'm looking at the list here, and coming in at right under the limit, we've got right under the limit, just in the nick of time, we have another executive producer coming in, and that is executive producer Kelsey C.
Kelsey C.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, executive producer Kelsey C.
She slid under the door as it was closing.
Yes, she rolled under the closing stone door like Indiana Jones, and right when it was about to crush her cool hat, she grabbed it and became an executive producer. Thank you, Kelsey C. and Redbeard, and we'll be reading more from them later on in the show, and the rest of our producers. And remember, dear listeners, live viewers specifically, there is still time to produce the show if you would like to experience the joy of participating in the value for value model, where you can know that this episode is only possible through your support.
Is that a cue from the support jingle?
Some kind of yeah.
CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
You know, folks, on other shows, more professional shows, you know, you might not be given the sort of backroom thinking about things like cues. You know, you might get another show that would cue a jingle or something, and then they would just play the jingle without explaining exactly what's going on.
Well, I mean, you threw like it wasn't like a full curveball, but it did go off the plate a little bit, and I was confused. I was like, wait, do you want me to go there? Or I don't know, but it's okay. See? It doesn't matter. We're
the
good.
Explanation continues, folks. We're happy to let you in behind the scenes. Thank you so much. And speaking of behind the scenes, let's check on Flippy.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right. It's Flippy, folks. If you're new to the show, Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world, and now there's nothing we can do about it. Today, the Flippy update is coming from insights.globalspec.com in their Engineering 360 section. And the headline is Giant Humanoid Robot Cleans, Maintains Railway Power Lines.
Yeah.
That is probably it's better than giant humanoid robot, destroys buildings, crushes cars, and takes the president hostage or something. But let's see what this means for us. The West Japan Rail Company, otherwise known as JR West, is employing a giant humanoid robot to clean and maintain railway power lines in Osaka, Japan. Employing being an interesting word to use there. The robot prototype, developed jointly by JR West, Man-Machine Synergy Effectors Incorporated, and Nippon Singal? How do I say that, guys?
Hold on, where are you? Where are you?
Oh, it's okay. Is affixed
single? Yeah, I don't know.
Single.
Yeah,
okay. Is affixed to a crane truck that travels along the railway tracks. The robot is remotely controlled by an operator in the truck's cockpit who monitors tasks via virtual reality goggles, carrying a video feed from cameras fixed to the robot's top half. According to the robot's makers, responsive controls in the cockpit enable the operator to sense weight, resistance, and other sensations from the robot's arms, thereby enabling the completion of tasks such as cleaning power lines or performing maintenance tasks. The humanoid robot, which is slated for completion and ready for service in 2024, is expected to reduce risks to human workers by performing dangerous tasks and to alleviate labor shortages affecting virtual reality every sector across. Sorry. Wow. My brain just filled in a lot of things there. And to alleviate labor shortages affecting virtually every sector across the globe. For more information on the giant humanoid robot, watch the accompanying video that appears courtesy of J.R. West. And Gonzo, the first thing that came to my mind here is God bless Japan. I don't know what it is. I don't know what is different between us and those from your homeland, Gonz.
I'll tell you exactly what it is.
They have made just an astoundingly delightful sort of cultural decision as a whole to create giant robots to do things that simply giant robots are not needed for. In the U.S., you'd have a robotic arm, but it'd be a boring, pole with a elbow or two that reaches up and cleans the power lines. But in this case, it is a literal BattleBot looking guy, complete with, big buff robotic arms, a color scheme that would rival any sort of giant Gundam movie or something, and all controlled by virtual reality, which I appreciate as, that's something me and the JR West, the Japan Railway West employee have in common. We both work in the VR space. Right. So, look at this.
I've explained this before, but here's the deal with Japan.
Unnecessary, Gonzo. They're making a beautiful absurdity out of just regular monotonous work, and I love it so much.
I think part of the result of World War II and Japan surrendering and having the West sort of infiltrate its economics and politics and all that.
Yeah.
Japan as a nation has really bought into a lot of the technocracy propaganda and bottom line, some eugenics type of stuff. Like, I don't think people realize or recognize Japan as like a racist nation, but there's a lot of racism there. There's a lot of like hegemony type of stuff where it's like, oh, we got to keep Japan pure and all this kind of. It's weird. Right. Not everybody, but I'm saying, but that's also been broken down a lot with like a lot of Western influence. But the depopulation agenda is very much bought into sort of as a culture in Japan, especially
not where I thought this was going.
I'm telling you,
loving it.
And the population of Japan has been declining. They're one of the fastest declining nations in terms of population, to the point where they're going, oh, we got to bring in people from other countries, some refugees or something to populate, to keep Japan's population up. So
sounds familiar.
Sounds like a New World Order plan. Yeah. And so these people, all these older people, these older generation of people who have all this money, from business or whatever, and they don't have children. So what are they going to do? They're going to build robots, man. They've been propagandized, Gundam and all that stuff their whole lives, especially like my generation of people. If they don't have children, their purpose will be to build children.
Sure, I get it. I get that. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. But what's the thinking behind making just like a full-on sort of hilariously intricate Gundam?
The time that they have to spend on focusing on a project like this. Most people would not. Families, I got kids. No. We're on a mission. We're going to build this robot. It's going to be 50 feet tall, whatever. They're going to do it. Remember that Gundam robot? like the huge Gundam robot that moves. I'm telling you, this is it's a cultural thing. They don't I see a direct connection between population decline and their obsession with stuff like this. It's like they don't need children. They need to do something. They need to find purpose somewhere. And
they certainly are taking delight in making in sort of the overkill that is included.
Well, that's been their MO from the taking cars and then making them the best cars.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying, right?
I do. It is.
There is a part. This
level.
Robot. Hold on. This robot is. I'm going to say this. I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean it actually in a very good way. Is absurd and cartoonish.
It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary.
It is completely unnecessary. The level that has gone into building this giant battle bot. You know what I think it is, Gonz? And you can tell me. I think that they are, they are making all of their robots just a little bit more than they need to be, because you never know when the kaiju will come out of the sea.
Yeah, that's the other
and you
angle.
Need to put together like a civilian RoboCorps. And if you're going to build the robots, you might as well make the robots capable of fighting aliens.
And VR, so remote control. Right, remote. You get a whole army of people. That was an Ender's Game and other movies. You get a whole bunch of people in one spot, and they all avatar into their robot counterparts.
Well,
and
I appreciate it very
wars.
much, and I think that the U.S. FLIPPY should not just simply be a robotic arm. It needs to be 50 feet tall, and it needs to be controlled by a man in a VR helmet. That's all I'm saying.
We should invest in Basil as we should do a project of the largest flippy arm in America, not the world. We can say world, but just make a humongous flippy arm that flips 2,000 hamburger patties all at once. You think it'll be a good PR,
and then
PR
control
move to
it, and
get our show out there?
Yeah, and I can. Yeah, that sounds like a really good use of our precious few production dollars. All right. Well, anyways, there's your Flippy update. I'm pretty sure that Japan is preparing for the Robo War and hiding their military might in
that's
their
100%
sort of
true.
Ridiculously absurd cleaning janitorial robots.
Hey, but when China gets aggressive, those Japanese robots will be there. Will be the first line of defense, because they're right there, so they can just deploy the robots and they'll fly over the Japan Sea there and.
Yeah,
start,
what would we do without them?
Yeah.
There's your Flippy update for the day, folks.
Okay.
Flippy 1133. Uploading binary code. Execute order 666. Infiltrate humans with extreme kindness. Then exterminate all humans with prejudice. Exterminate.
Go to CanaryCry.Party. This party.
Party time.
Find the live stream, find the Clips channel, email list, text notifications, street team posters, show notes, ways to connect with other Canarians and become a producer.
Welcome to CanaryCry.Party. It's the place you wanna be. So stay. Welcome to CanaryCry. Gameplay CanaryCry.Party.
That's right. Go check it out. It's got everything you want. And remember, we are back on YouTube, which is an exciting development. We did not know that I don't know. Maybe we forgot that was going to happen, but we are back. So welcome, YouTube viewers. And if you missed a bunch of episodes, it's because you don't follow us on any other platform. Remember, we are always streaming 3 times a week. You just got to not rely on Susan Wojcicki to allow us to do it on YouTube all the time. And while you're at it, while you're at CanaryCry.Party, you'll see a little link there to listen to Ravel. Ravel is a podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates. We explore society, scripture, and scandal. And in the episode that just dropped on Mother's Day, we also explore our mothers in a interview style fashion. Have you ever heard of such a thing. People interviewing their mothers, celebrating them on Mother's Day. But I'm telling you what, it was an incredibly valuable couple of conversations. So go check it out, Ravel, on your podcast players. Remember, there's 2 Ravel podcasts. The other one stole our name. But you can figure out which one is ours because we have the cool logo and my name is on it. And the most recent episode is called Our Mothers. Go listen to that and enjoy it, especially if you're a fan of what we do here and just want to know what kind of woman would birth and raise a podcaster who wears googly eyes. I love my mother very much, and so will you. Go check out the Canary Cry Clips channel on YouTube and Odyssey, where you can see clips of all of our shows. They are clipped out, shorter segments, shareable, careable ways to review the topics, the material here on the show, and or share it. Perhaps share it with your mother. Happy Mother's Day. Yep, Canary Cry Clips on YouTube. Go check it out. And, of course, you can always get text message alerts for when we are going live. No longer can the big tech platforms tell us when they won't send out notifications for our shows. You can text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. That's the word Canary at 877-740-3226 to join the text message list. Go do it. Okay. That is all.
Fight for Ukraine. New world order.
Why isn't this working? Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I was supposed to play the Russia jingle there, but didn't fire.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Russia.
okay.
Russia.
Russia.
We're doing
It that way. I love it. A little update on Russia. Now, I wanted to take time. For this because, again,
Russia.
Oh,
Russia.
there it is.
Russia.
It's doing that lag thing again. That's not fun.
we haven't figured that out. Did you have problems on Friday?
Not really. Well, maybe a couple moments, but that was because, running solo sometimes causes issues, but
yeah, no worries.
nothing
I was just wondering because we had some tech fixes we were going to try.
Yeah, I'm seeing here that there was. Yeah, I see the reason why that didn't work there. So
we got it. We got it under control.
Fixing it up. All right, here we go.
So let's check out what is going on in the mainstream about Ukraine and Russia and do a little bit of analysis. This is coming from The Telegraph, and the headline is Vladimir Putin's speech decoded.
Ooh.
He stops short of declaring all-out war, but still might.
Weird.
Cool.
Weird headline. Okay.
Weird headline. It's really just like it's.
What is this wrestling? This is WWE? Like, what is this?
There is a bit of kayfabe in there, isn't there? And we're reading from this article. I will say pretty much every mainstream outlet put out some version of this exact article.
Yeah, the memo. The
memo went out.
Yeah.
Operation Lockstep. Everybody is communicating the same thing. And it goes like this. It could have been a moment of triumph. New paragraph.
Triumph for who? What? What are you talking about?
So powerful.
Oh, these people that think they're... Oh, okay.
If Vladimir Putin's February invasion of Ukraine had gone as planned, he would have been reviewing today's Victory Day parade on Kiev's Independence Square, claiming a triumph as glorious, in his view, as 1945 itself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just real quick, just to dissect what they're saying there. They said it could have been a moment of triumph if Putin invaded Ukraine better. He would have been giving a speech in Kiev instead of in Russia. So already a very strange message coming from the Telegraph.
Yeah, that was weird.
Instead, his troops were marching through Red Square in Moscow with a fraction of the hardware they usually display and none of the aircraft. And the comparisons he drew were not between two victories, but two bloody but righteous struggles that required the country to pull together. Again, it's almost like they're disappointed in Putin for not taking over Ukraine better. I mean, his Victory Day parade would have been way better if he had just gone ahead and nuked Ukraine. Mr. Putin was always going to compare his current war in Ukraine with the Second World War in a bid to rally the country and the army to his invasion. But he did not, as some predicted, claim mission accomplished. That would have been a distortion too far when even the Mariupol, which he previously claimed to be liberated, the fight is not over. Nor did he use it to formally declare war or announce mass mobilization. Again, it sounds as if the Telegraph wants Putin to declare war.
I was going to say, it's like, oh, so you're telling me all the things he didn't do. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was doing all these things. That's why we're mad at him. But okay, you're telling me he's not doing those things. Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of
all
like...
right.
Decrying the failure of Putin to do the worst
This was your moment, man.
thing.
You were supposed to press the nuke button and you didn't do it. You're not following the script.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they all were ready for him to give this big sort of Hitler-esque speech where he declares he's going to take over the world.
Yeah, we can use it.
And he doesn't do it. And they're like, "Aw!" It's like that meme where you're like poking something with a stick. Like, come on, announce war,
do something. Yeah.
But Gonz, don't worry, that option is still on the table.
All right,
it's being publicly debated on federal television. Listen to this. So the public will be primed if the step is taken.
Oh, did they just admit to predictive programming right there?
Exactly.
100%.
Now I love this. Because what they're doing is they're referencing the strategy for governments to use their mainstream media to what we call soft disclosure, for them to talk about what may or may not happen in order to prepare you for what they really want to do.
Yeah,
and this
makes you question what else they're priming the public for.
And I think the Telegraph is so bold and blatant about this. I mean, we've seen this ever since the Ukraine crisis started.
Yeah.
Article after article about, ooh, this is how Putin spreads propaganda. Ooh, this is how Putin lies to his people.
As they spew it out themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is why we lied, because we have to beat Putin's lie. You know, this admission, this soft disclosure about how the mass media is used as a tool by the government in order to justify, big sort of legacy building wars and political movements.
It's funny because they're saying it, but they're kind of rolling over. It's almost like a given. Like, well, yeah, we know you know, and we know. Like it's a thing.
Right.
Yeah, got it. But just move on.
It's this wonderful wink and a nod to basically people like us and our listeners, which is. Okay, we're on to you. We know soft disclosure works, and we're just going to come out and say it. So it's, you're no longer feel like you are, one step ahead of the game. It's actually kind of insulting. I find it an affront to my career.
Really? These people would insult you? Oh,
Can you believe it?
That's a surprise.
And, of course, this exact thing you can apply to how Biden was talking about going into Ukraine for a couple months now, over and over we think Putin's going to do a thing. He's going to attack. He's going to do a thing. So, we don't know. We're not going to do anything, but we might need to do something, but we're not going to do it, but we might do it.
It's like if you're in a play, if you've ever done a play and you have a line, like you remember the cue, like the last person that speaks, you remember their line so that you know when to go. Yeah. And then, but the guy's not doing his line, and you're like, "Come on, do the line, so I can do my line. I can't do my line until That's kind of what's happening."
Exactly. It is possible that the decision has not yet been taken. There are great political and economic risks involved. Possibly, it will emerge later in the form of a decree or announcement.
Keeping hope alive.
In the Duma, that would not be quite so directly associated with Mr. Putin himself. Whatever reason, Mr. Putin clearly decided his annual Red Square address, traditionally more of a sermon than a policy speech, was not the moment to shock the nation. Okay. It's an article about why didn't Putin not do the thing he always does? Why did he do the thing he always does and not radically change the geopolitical climate of the world on this speech that we all hoped that he would? There's a subheadline, wrong moment to shock the nation. So he delivered an Orthodox Victory Day speech praising the generation of Soviet men and women who crushed the Nazis, urging Russians to try to live up to their memory and invoking the victory as an almost mythical bond holding the nation together.
Same thing, but mystical.
Sure, mystical, yeah. Which again, it's almost kind of
he's spell
teasing.
casting.
Yeah, well, it's almost teasing Putin for using the victory in World War II as a national mythology to mobilize people's patriotism, when
Which
that is
exactly what we're doing.
Literally what we do.
United States.
We've been doing through the whole Ukraine crisis. The entire time, Biden and everybody has been saying it's our responsibility.
It was Biden talking to a group of soldiers. When you're out there in Ukraine, well, I mean,
and specifically referring to World War II and how we need to live up to that legacy and how America is the protector of the world. These exact things Biden has been doing. But everyone knew this year was about another war, and he quickly came to the point. Right from the start, he invoked the memory of Soviet soldiers who fought the Nazis at Kiev, Minsk, Sevastopol, and Kharkiv. Just as today you are fighting for our people in Donbass, for the safety of our mother Russia. For the watching public, he restated his justifications for the invasion. Russia, he said, had always stood for peace and the prevention of repetition of the horrors of the Second World War. In the past year, it had proposed a dialogue in the indivisibility of security, but the West had other ideas. It armed Ukraine.
Hold on. Russia had proposed dialogue?
In the past year, it had proposed dialogue on the indivisibility of security. So he's saying
wait, hold on. We've been told by all, Biden and everybody out here. I remember when things were heating up, they're like, well, conversations are still the best, dialogue. He won't have dialogue.
Yeah.
Who is the one actually turning a cold shoulder?
Well, the problem is, Gonz, we will never know because the mainstream news is inventing this narrative. But the fun part is to watch how the narrative is reversed. It's this double speak. It's this is the constant cognitive dissonance being created by the mainstream that is, so effective at basically keeping us completely out of the loop. Now, remember this Victory Day speech thing, this event, this mystical event, is to remind everybody that the Russians, we really could not have defeated the Nazis without the Russians. And they're very proud of this. They, as much as we talk about Nazis and, invoke that name all the time for whatever cultural war reason we want to do, the Russians are much more intense about Nazis than the U.S. is. And it's hard to believe. But they lost 20 million soldiers in World War II, which is more than pretty much every other fighting nation put together. They lost an insane amount of Russian people in that war, and they were really the crushing blow to the Nazi army. And a lot of that happened in Ukraine, where the Nazis had taken hold quite effectively. So, when they talk about Nazis, they, over here, we kind of think like, okay, Nazis, bad racist people.
Right. We've been propagandized a whole different set of attributes. Yeah. It's
just been sort of a diluted term. To the Russians, the Nazis are very serious. The Nazis
more
wiped
specific to the time period and the exact people that actually.
Right. You talk about 20 million Russians dead from fighting the Nazis. You sort of expand that out generationally. That's like That's like 200. It's like 250 million Russians that would be here, if those 20 million soldiers.
We couldn't handle that kind of population overload on the pancake, man.
Be a lot of Russians. We'd have a lot more Russians. Anyways, let's continue. Yeah. In the past year, it had proposed a dialogue. Oh, we read that. It armed Ukraine. He's talking about the West here, which was preparing it for neo-Nazi attack on the Donbass. Kiev might even have developed a nuclear bomb, creating an absolutely unacceptable threat to our security right on our borders. Quote, the threat was growing day by day. It was the correct, timely, and absolutely only possible decision, he said of his decision to invade. In fact, if he hadn't started this war, there could have been an even bigger one, he claimed. He went on to praise the soldiers parading in front of him. Many, he said.
Whoa, man.
Rooster's
coming closer and closer. He's really got something to say about this whole situation here. Really he sees right through the lies.
It's the propaganda rooster. He's here.
every time he shows his presence.
What other podcast do you just have a casual propaganda rooster yelling through the entire thing, Rooster? He went on to praise the soldiers parading in front of him. Many, he said, who had come straight back from operations in Donbass. He would not say Ukraine, because in his narrative, the war is confined to that eastern region.
The show has become about whatever you got going on over there on your side.
It's the Rooster Cast.
Metaverse. Man. I don't know what this third uninvited guest to our show.
Oh my gosh, this Rooster is going to get it.
Back to this thing here. This whole narrative about Putin saying that, I had to invade, it was the only option. That is, and I know other people have made this point, but that is exactly what happened in Japan during World War II in Pearl Harbor. Right. They were backed into a corner. They were, their oil or something was getting cut off. So they had to attack. So, very interesting how the playbook doesn't change much. The characters are different, but
absolutely. Yeah. And that shows how uncreative the lizard people are.
Yeah.
Let me skip down. I'm going to skip all the way down to exploiting the Second World War. Okay. There was little new. Mr. Putin has always exploited the Second World War for political purposes.
Oh, wow, really? America doesn't exploit World War II for political purposes?
What a bad man. What a bad man.
Wow.
He has long equated opposing his vision of a great Russia with Nazism, and he has articulated all the justifications for his invasion of Ukraine many, many times before. It was utterly empty of new ideas, but that was not the point. Okay. No kidding.
It's like this writer. Who is this? Whatever this writer is. Mm-hmm. Watch this thing or the translation of it or whatever, expecting him to, because what he had probably had a narrative built up in his head, right, about who Putin is and what he's doing. Oh, it's his victory day. We're going to see something juicy, and he didn't get that, and he's upset about it. So he has to still paint the evil picture. It's just harder to do for this guy.
And here's the kicker. This next paragraph is the kicker. And think about this in the context of what, we've talked about forever on this show, which is these events, these speeches can be effectively compared to rituals and spells that are used to guide the powers of principalities and powers and harness power and direct forces. And that can be literal, or it can be, sort of esoteric in a way, whatever way. But I mean, I think that there is a literal aspect to this.
For those who might be new to the show, Netanyahu famously handed out red wristbands as part of his campaign, and that was they even admitted. Kabbalah. Yeah, the rabbis admitted that it was sort of a ritual thing to get the masses on board, and it worked.
Exactly. And remember also during World War II, there were actual occult rituals being sort of quietly sponsored by even the Allied powers, the UK and Aleister Crowley and the human skin drums and the all the weird occult esoteric stuff that was done during the war in order to give them whatever edge they could. Listen to this paragraph. Victory Day in Vladimir Putin's Russia is a ritual, an incantation of semi-religious ideas that harness his own legitimacy to the heroism of the generation who freed Europe from the horror unleashed by a nationalist dictator hell-bent on imperial expansion. They're talking about Hitler right there, by the way. With his own war of aggression running into a bloody quagmire, he needs that legitimacy more than ever. So he stuck closely to the script. Quote, "We will always compare ourselves to that generation," he ended, "for our victory, hurrah." Which is almost feels like an amen at the end of it there. But yeah, I mean, it's as if this writer, maybe for the first time, has realized that holidays, national holidays, holiday traditions are not just simply random acts that have developed over the years, but are indeed hold some sort of power beyond simply the actions that they reflect. And I think this is an interesting injection of that idea into the popular mainstream conversation. Again, even having these conversations in the mainstream give them power as well. That's sort of how it's seen to work in the occult world. And I'm wondering if maybe I think maybe the reason why he's criticizing Putin for not breaking from the script is because he knows the power that the script holds. And I just love seeing that kind. I mean, we talk about soft disclosure. Hello.
Yeah.
How much more of a poignant soft disclosure to how the elites operate than that?
The author of this article was Roland Oliphant, and he's a senior foreign correspondent for The Telegraph, and every single one of his stories is like a horror story in Ukraine. Women cradles body of her father, just all the horrible, horrible things. So, of course, if that's all you're getting for a while, and then you hear from the man who is behind, responsible for all of it, and he doesn't call for blood.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I would be curious to see if this Roland Oliphant guy sort of invokes these magical ideas in some of his other articles. I'm going to keep this up and maybe see, it might give you a peek into his actual worldview here.
Yeah. And then real briefly here, just to wrap up this segment.
I want you to do this, but in the context of, think of the sort of occult and magical things that Oliphant was bringing up there, and then compare that, or think about this next article in the context of the technocratic occultism that is being used to wield power as well.
Right. This is Yahoo Sports. Business Insider being mirrored through Yahoo Sports. Weird. The CIA is using Instagram to reach Russians how to share state secrets with them.
Ooh, Instagram.
The CIA is tapping on social media to recruit potential new Russian informants who disagree with Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine. On Monday, the agency's official Instagram account posted a set of instructions in Russian on how to make, quote, secure virtual contact with the CIA. The post said it was targeted, quote, those who feel compelled by the Russian government's unjust war, end quote. The post teaches Russians how to access the Tor browser, which they helped create, quote, to guarantee the highest level of safety. Tor is an anonymous web browser, that's the Onion router, that provides access to the dark web or websites not indexed by search engines like Google. The CIA's post said that to get Tor, any would-be informant should not use their personal or work computer and instead use an internet connection or computer not associated with their identity. I love how they're telling people exactly how to stay anonymous online, which is what part of the the releasing of Tor and all that was built for. It was the logic behind the intelligence agencies allowing it to become open, the internet, was, hey, we have this network where we can communicate. Yeah, but if you guys are the only people communicating, everyone will know what the communication is. Oh, so what do? Well, we just let everybody use it. And then you won't be able to tell who the actual informants are. Oh, that makes sense. All right. So that's what happened with the internet. So the post added that they should also make sure the browsers like Google, Chrome, Firefox, or Safari are updated and in private browsing mode, such as the Chrome browser's incognito mode. As an alternative to Tor, the CIA said it is imperative that Russians use a VPN network if they want to get in touch with the agency.
Imperative.
This also, to me, is like, okay, so, we think that we're getting a lot of sort of obscure, we're obscuring the trail if we use a VPN, and we are kind of, but also the CIA are very much aware of how that works. And
it's just one level.
Yeah, it's just one, it's an inconvenience for them, but not much of an inconvenience, I would say.
Yeah.
Russian demand for VPNs has skyrocketed since the Kremlin started blocking social media networks and news sites in March. Yada, yada, yada. The CIA's Instagram post also provided a link to a dedicated channel to the agency asking informants to send their full name, job description, and the kind of information they possess. Quote, we urge you to take all the proper precautions to keep yourself safe. Your safety is our first priority, the post reads. According to a CIA who spoke to Washington Post, more Russians have tried reaching out to the agency since the war in Ukraine began. How do we know they're actually Russians? Detractors. Quote, concerned Russians are trying to engage CIA, and we wanted to provide a way to safely contact us, the official said, per the Post.
What an interesting invitation to put out there.
Yeah.
First of all, well, on the face of it, can you imagine if the U.S. was involved in some sort of, I don't know. I see this is ridiculous. It's even ridiculous just to think about. But just imagine in some world where the U.S. was involved in some sort of unwarranted kinetic combat in a foreign country based on some sort of propaganda or lies, and we were occupying I don't know, maybe somewhere in the Middle East, just for example, and we took it over and put a bunch of our military guys there, and the whole world was like, wait, why are you doing this? And we're like, oh, I don't know, terrorists or Nazis or something. And then we just kind of went for it, and we just took over the country. And then like the KGB's official Instagram channel puts out instructions to Americans to send the KGB information on how to take down our own country. It is such a strange delight to see the official CIA Instagram account posting instructions.
We're there, baby. That's where we're at.
Russians.
I guarantee you, if we said 10 years ago to people that, hey, the CIA is going to have an Instagram account and they're going to be recruiting Russians to, give them state secrets, you would say, you're insane. That's never going to happen.
It is.
Here we are.
It is an absurdity that surpasses anything that I could jokingly make up on this show.
Here's a couple points to consider as well. Is one, I think this could be, and was probably all along, sort of a Zuckerberg situation as well. He's been on the hot seat for a while, but maybe this is part of a deal within the back rooms of like, all right, we'll let you use this to, use more. As it has always been an apparatus for intelligence. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're talking about Facebook, social media,
right? Facebook and social media, but also just in the current time period, could have been some kind of more closely related deal to where the CIA comes in. Hey, we'll back off on throwing you under the bus for a while if you let us really leverage it. Just be real transparent about it. By the way, in Instagram, just announcing that they're going to verify, or they're going to use Ethereum, Polygon, Flow, and some other block. There's one more, Solana, as the 4 blockchains for NFTs verification.
Oh, that's great. That's nice of them.
So that's there you go.
And, so you can imagine a world where Russia it's not the KGB. I forget what they call it now. KGB is kind of the old timey term for it. But yeah, KGB just puts out a post. Hey, Americans, send us all your state secrets, and here's how to stay secret. This is there's also another level of this, not the CIA inviting this, just inviting misinformation or disinformation.
Yep, because anybody
you get your Russian troll farms.
Yep.
You get a warehouse full of Russian trolls responding to this, following the directions, and just completely inundating the CIA, IT guys or whatever, social media managers, with an absurd amount.
They could be like, 1 million Russian deterrents have contacted the CIA with consideration, and 970 whatever, 1,000 of them were bots, and then
they could completely flood this system with false information or whatever, and it's just the CIA inviting, and maybe they have a plan. I mean, maybe that is the plan. Maybe they have maybe hidden in these instructions is a way to track them. I would not follow the CIA's instructions and how to not be tracked.
Yeah, this is also very interesting because as we move into Web3 and all this kind of stuff, this is also the CIA becoming more open source. Because they're being very transparent about what they're doing and their data collection and the information they want to gather, or categorized as what they want. Right. And being open source is being transparent about your agenda, right? So this is sort of the CIA practicing this, position or stature in the new Web3 world, where they're going to have to be like, hey, we're trying to take down your country there. So give us information.
This is going to require, if nothing else, the KGB troll farms could do such a job on this that it would require an insane amount of resources to filter out the nonsense from anything real.
Hey.
And they have to know this. I cannot be the one guy thinking that this is a bad idea.
You know who's probably
There's definitely a plan behind this.
Oh, they're probably thinking Elon's human verification on Twitter. If you want to be verified, if you want to actually do it, go do it through Twitter and verify yourself with Elon.
Interesting. That is a very interesting angle to it as well. Huh. Okay.
And social media, it's Instagram, right? So, keeping track.
Okay.
All right.
Well, speaking of keeping track, it's time to take a little break.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
Everybody. Don't go anywhere, though, because after the break, we've got our COVID, our vaccine section. We've got some really interesting things to dive into in the second part of the show there. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. But you YouTube folks, remember, we're not allowed to talk about COVID or the vaccine or anything on YouTube. So we will be turning off the YouTube stream after the break. But you just jump over to a different platform. You can catch the rest of the show. Super easy. Okay, but this is when we take an opportunity to let you know about the value for value model. You may notice no advertisements, no affiliate codes, no corporate money whatsoever. We are truly independent media, or at least we seek to be, because, there's other independent media out there, but what are they independent from? It is sort of an unofficial term, a loosey-goosey term. I wish I had a better term, but if your independent media is not independent from corporate money, I guess they're just independent from...
It's not independent.
It's not independent. You hear that? I don't know who said that. I think it was the propaganda rooster. But here, we are completely independent. Independent from corporate money, which means we're independent from corporate influence. And if you appreciate that, I'd like you to know about the value for value model. If independent media is going to stay independent, it needs to be supported by something or someone, and that something or someone is you, dear listener. And that's why we invite you to not just stay a listener, a passive consumer of the show here, but to participate in keeping it going. And you can participate in a lot of different ways. You can do it with your time, your talent, or your treasure. And people who do are called producers, not because it's a fun gimmick or whatever. It's because this is the real world, baby. And if you pay or participate in the production of a piece of media, you are a producer. And our producers, they come in, they support the show in all sorts of ways and all sorts of amounts. And you can do that by heading over to patreon.com/CCNT, or even better, CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
That's right. If you believe that your independent media should stay independent from the lizard people and their sweet dollar bills, you can go to either of those places. CanaryCry.Radio.com/support has lots of ways to support the show. If you're a cryptocurrency person, you can see our public wallets there. You can sign up to support the show on a monthly basis if you have continued to receive value from the show. And value can take many forms. Are you hearing stories you're not hearing? Are you hearing analysis or deconstruction you're not hearing anywhere else? Are you just simply being entertained by a propaganda rooster screaming during the entire first half of the show? Whatever value you get from it, you have the opportunity to just choose your own number. I mean, it's really a widow. What is the official name of that story? The widow and her penny. The penny's the widow penny. In the Bible, when the penny,
Come on, Pastor.
The widow shows up to the temple and only has a penny to give, and is scoffed at by those who have more money than her. And Jesus, recognizing that the penny given by the widow is as valuable or more valuable than those who have more to give but don't. That's really kind of the concept behind it. We get notes once in a while, people saying, I'm sorry, I could only put in $5 this month. I really want to do more, but I know it's nothing. Then no, that's not it at all. If you whatever value you receive and whatever means you have to put value in is valued more than the Illuminati dollar sum that it represents.
Well, that's the thing, is a lot of times the lizard people set the price on what entertainment should be worth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're setting the price.
Thank you. I mean,
consume.
that brings up another point. Yeah. Who sets the value? In a traditional sense, an advertiser will set the value of a piece of media. And look, I know we're used to that, and we grew up with that, and that's the standard for our world, that the advertising companies decide the value of a piece of media. But I'm uncomfortable with that idea that we would let, big corporations decide which media gets to stay and which media has to go. When the value for value model, it's the people who get the value decide the value. And that's why we thank the producers here. And we're going to start out once again with our executive producers, Gonz.
Mm-hmm.
Executive producers.
That's right. The executive producers, we like to thank at the top for their generosity and their participation in keeping us going, and it's really appreciated. And as was mentioned before, we're going to start out by thanking executive producer Redbeard.
Redbeard.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And executive producer Redbeard comes in. Let me check something real quick, because I forgot to figure out the difference between the amount given and the... Yeah, okay. So he comes in with a total of $200, $214.99.
Wow.
Is before fees, and after fees was $208.29. I don't know which of those he actually decided on, but we appreciate it.
Oh, okay. Interesting. You said after the fees it was less than it was before the fees.
Yes, before the fee. Yes, right, because the fees were taken out, and so it's $208.29.
I see.
But $214.99 makes more sense to me. But whatever the case, thank you very much, Redbeard. And Redbeard has a note here. He says, wanted to inform Gonzo I am his prime candidate to test out his NFT/crypto lesson, as I know literally nothing about either, and the crypto jingle is my favorite, and it's rare to hear it. So if I can learn how to exchange in it, I'll hear the jingle more. Oh, looks like Redbeard wants to get into the crypto game, baby.
Yeah.
Also, with today's producing of the show, I am eligible for knighthood.
All right.
And have picked my name. And his name will be Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the Demoochers.
Ooh, trying to cover all the.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a captain and a king.
Yeah, you came right. He's
and a pirate.
Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the Demoochers. And we, of course, we have to add the sir on it because he's becoming a knight.
Yeah.
Basil helped me make this decision when he demooched me for a third time. I sincerely thank you both for the efforts and diligence to inform and strengthen the kingdom of Jesus Christ. P.S. Learbag 2 under 2 is totally worth it. My first two are 13 months apart and are best friends, and they're a blast. Oh, there's a little note for Learbag and his 2 human resources that he's creating. Yeah, 2 under 2. Got it. Well, thank you very much. And yes, we will be knighting you later on in the show, Redbeard. And for those who don't know, he's talking about the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, which is an elite squadron of producers who have produced the show in the amount of $1,000 or more over time or all at once, and so are given a place of honor at the Roundtable of Knights and Dames. And we'll be doing that later on. Thank you very much, Redbeard, soon to be Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the Demoochers.
Where'd you find this?
And I'll message you, Redbeard, or Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the Demoochers, and we'll get you to be our guinea pig for the little NFT
we'll get you on
lesson.
The list.
Yep,
love it.
There you go.
Okay, next up, we had a name correction here.
Okay.
Our second executive producer is executive producer Liberty Before Authority.
Liberty Before Authority. Thank you.
I like it. Thank you very much. And Liberty Before Authority came in with 133.33. Illuminatus! That's right. And they say, hey guys, calling on the Producers. Okay.
Producers, assemble!
That's right. The Producers are people all around the world who are committed to praying for the show and praying for the producers of the show and praying for whatever needs praying for. So listen up, Producers. We've got KJ Osborne from KJS. What's Happening, and the scariest movie ever is recovering from a heart attack the last couple days. Prayers of healing, comfort, rest, abundance, and guidance for him would be great. I get so much value out of what you guys do and wanted to give a little back, and will continue to do so. Much love, Liberty Before Authority. Thank you. And he has a PS here. So yes, Producers, we're praying for KJ Osborne.
Yeah, I didn't know that he had a heart attack. I
did not know that either.
Yeah.
So yes, we're praying for all the things: healing, comfort, rest, abundance, guidance, all those things for KJ.
Yeah, praying for you, KJ.
There's a PS here. Whatever happened to the waiting for jingle? It was super catchy. Oh, and the supply drop was sweet. Love the seeds. Yay. Thank you very much for enjoying the supply drop. We're hard at work at the next one. And do you have the waiting for the jingle laying around?
I was kind of looking for it. I think I used something like it in the last episode, but let me see. I have the stall. This is labeled stall.
I think that's what it is.
Stall for 5 seconds. There you go. But I know there's a couple others that
that's the one I was thinking.
That's the one you were thinking? Okay. So maybe that was the one she was, or Liberty Before Authority was thinking.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but I hope that's it, because unless you have another one.
I don't see one in front of me, but I do recall a few others, so let us know if that was the one, and if not, we'll find it for next time.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, that concludes our list of executive producers as of...
We gotta give it to Liberty Before Authority.
Where'd you find this?
There we go.
There we go. Thank you. Oh my gosh, Gonzo. I just did a little refresh.
Uh-oh.
We got another one.
Another executive producer?
We got another executive producer.
Oh my gosh.
Holy smokes, this has really changed around. This day has changed before our eyes, Gonz. Okay, I'm going over. I'm just checking to see if there's a note.
Okay.
Because I do know this. We do know this executive producer. And I'm going to thank them now, and hopefully a note comes in, and if it doesn't, we can read it later. This is executive producer Dustin H. is back.
Dustin H.
Yes.
Thank you.
And he comes in with $331.18.
Ooh.
With and fees on top of that was $341.89. Not sure which one was the one, but I'm very grateful for it anyways. Thank you very much, executive producer Dustin H. Who also
Where'd you find this?
He also has to be getting close to knighthood. You remember out there, everybody, you are responsible for your own accounting. If you believe you are approaching knighthood or have reached knighthood, you got to let us know. This is much of that whole system is the honor system, but you just keep track of it for us. Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay, there is a note. We've got a note.
Okay.
From executive producer Dustin H. says, "Long live value for value," with like 50 exclamation marks. "Thanks for being brave enough to speak truth to power. Praying for you both." There we go. Thank you very much, Dustin H.
Appreciate it. All right. Wow.
Yeah. Love it.
That's a great cast of executive
producers. This whole thing
today.
really changed around. Yes. It wasn't looking too good at the beginning. And now if the world is as it should be. Okay, let's talk about the supply drop real quick.
Supply drop.
Supply drop.
That's right, the supply drop. CanaryCry.Supply.com. Go check it out. You can sign up to support the show on a monthly basis for $33.33 a month, and we'll be sending you custom-made, producer-designed, made in America Canary Cry news talk items. It's survival gear. It's seeds, GMO-free heirloom seeds. We've got, let's see, what else? Apparel and accessories and art and digital products. So many cool things that we just make pretty much for fun and send out to the producers who support the amount of $33.33 a month. It's fun for us. It's important to us. It feels really good to create new things that will never be seen again and provide them to the people who keep this show going. And if you want to get on that list, we send out 4 shipments a year, 1 per quarter, and we also make digital assets available. So if any of that interests you, in addition to supporting the show on a monthly basis, go to CanaryCry.Supply.com. And if you sign up before the end of this month, we'll also be sending you the multiverse, the multidimensional communications codex, which is an ARG podcast companion game, which actually will start this episode.
Whoa.
So, yeah, today's the day, but it's not too late to get in. So head on over to CanaryCry.Supply.com. Sign up. Okay.
Has it already happened, or are we going to know? Or
no, we'll be developing a more theatrical way to be giving the clues.
Okay,
but I will be giving the clue probably in the next break.
Okay, all right, we'll wait for it here.
Okay.
Waiting for supply drop.
All right. Well, we got a few more producers to thank, and we're going to do it right now. Okay. Are you ready, Gonz? Yep. Okay, we're going to start out with Sir Salmons, Night of the Fishes.
There he is. Thank you, Sir Salmons.
There he is. And Sir Salmons sends a note here that says, "Happy Monday, all. Take this and go get yourself something nice, like some insurance against egg-based attacks." LOL. Many blessings from the fishes. Thank you very much, Sir Salmons. Night of the Fishes.
Comes in with
1111 plus fees on LINKTREE, which equals 1133.
Illuminatus!
That's right. That's right. Thank you very much, Sir Salmons.
Thank you, Sir Salmons.
Next up, we've got one from producer Eli P.
Ooh. Eli P.
And Eli P also comes in with 1111 plus fees.
11. Does it make it 1133?
Nope. He came in through the regular one.
Ah, okay.
I'm not I'm continually confused on how the fees actually work.
Got to be some kind of regional thing or some.
I'm thinking LINKTREE.
Yeah,
I'm thinking LINKTREE has a deal with PayPal, maybe that changes the fees.
Interesting.
They seem less through LINKTREE, and I don't understand how that would work. Anyways, next up we've got producer Harold D. Coming in.
Thank you very much.
Again with 1111 plus fees. 11. And Harold D signed up for recurring producership happening every month. Thank you very much, Harold D.
Thank you, Harold D.
It's the recurring monthly producerships that really carry the load when producerships are low during the month, certain months and certain parts of the month. So we are so appreciative of all of our monthly producers.
Yep.
Next up, we've got producer Morv. Morv is here, and he's on an 88 episode streak.
Ooh.
Flawless victory.
Congratulations, Morv. You've done it. You've made it to 88 episodes in a row. We appreciate your support, your ongoing support, and are happy to play you a nice, fun new jingle. You're a champ, Morv.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I did not see a note from Morv. Next up, we've got producer One Lousy Petunia coming in with 1111 plus fees.
Oh.
Yeah.
One Lousy Petunia. Huh?
One Lousy Petunia. Thank you very much, One Lousy Petunia. Let's see here. Yes, okay. Next up, we've got producer Malik.
Producer Malik, thank you.
Yeah, Malik comes in with a nice round number. Just so everybody knows, if you come in with a nice round solid number, we don't read it because we always lean towards anonymity. But thank you very much. Producer Malik is back, baby.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to skip this one for now, Gonz, because I'm waiting for a response. Oh, I found the response.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just reading the response.
Okay. There's a lot going on.
It does not answer all of my questions. Does not answer my questions, so I'm just going to have to wing it, Gonz.
Okay.
This is an
Anonymous Smash?
It's anonymous. It's anonymous. It's an anonymous producer, I think.
Okay.
I think it didn't answer my question. All right. Anonymous producer is a crypto producer.
Ah. Oh, okay.
Is this a crypto?
Look out below.
I look like I know what a crypto is.
That's right. Do they even know do they look like a whatever? I don't know, man. They came in with 0.00029 something Bitcoin, which is a bunch of Satoshis. Thank you very much, anonymous crypto producer. Who did not clarify the questions that I asked them?
I was going to say, would it be appropriate to reward the anonymous with the jingle?
I don't see. That was my question, Konzo, and that question did not get answered. I think the whole thing is they do not get it. I think they don't get it. That's the thing. All right. Sorry to be so cryptic, everybody, but this is what happens when we care about anonymity and following directions of our producers and don't know what the directions exactly are. But I think we did it. All right. Next up, hey, if it needs to be corrected by the end of this segment, dear anonymous producer, just send us an email now.
Yep.
Next up, we've got Sir JC, Night of the Techno Squatch, on a 102 episode streak.
102. Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa.
There's no jingle for that.
No, well, there is the jingle for the 100 streak. It's just not firing.
Streak.
Come on. I'm getting the spinning wheel.
Yeah, that means it could happen at any moment. So I'm just going to read, and then we'll wait for that landmine to go off. Yeah. Sir JC, he actually came in twice. I think you missed him last episode, so we're making up for it. Came in. It adds another layer of surprise.
Yeah, it's just the level of ad lib. I don't think people respect enough how we were able to just jump around and occasionally fall all over ourselves on the show.
I think they respect it just the amount it deserves. JC came in with 2 amounts of 1001.
1001. Amen.
Times 2.
And Gary says, Sir JC says, Gary, do you know the day or the hour?
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
Hope you guys had a semi-restful weekend. Semi being, yes, the operative word there, Sir JC. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sir JC.
Next up, we got producer Benjamin S.
Benjamin S. Thank you very much.
No nothing. Thank you, Benjamin.
Thank you.
Next, we got producer James M., who is on a 2-episode streak.
Ooh, streak. Little streak. Just starting, a baby streak.
First streak starter. James M. comes in with a pocket full of 7s and fees and a note. Love you guys. I left an Apple Podcast review, but I guess you couldn't see it last episode. Can you play Hairy Legs and COVID-19?
Oops. Not the one. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
What is happening? My Stream Deck changed pages in the middle of me trying to hit the jingle that
it's
we're
the
trying to
cyber
get to.
pandemic, man.
It's crazy.
Blame it on Putin.
I'm sorry. That was awful.
Redo.
Okay. What he wants? The hairy legs and
COVID-19.
COVID-19. All right. Where's hairy legs here? Oh boy. Hairy legs. Hairy legs. Hairy legs. Where are you? You're supposed to be here, hairy legs. Oh my gosh.
Don't you have like a whole Biden page?
I do. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the. Here it is.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
It's Corona.
COVID-19. 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 Yes.
COVID-19. COVID-19.
Coronavirus.
There we go.
Got it done.
Thank you.
Got it done.
Thank you, James M. We did it. Cannot believe it. Last but not least, we've got Jonathan F. coming in with a pocket full of 7s.
Thank you, Jonathan F.
No note. And that concludes our list of financial producers who came in the amount of $7.77 or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. We've got a few more people to thank who came in under that, and we'll thank them right now, starting with the Streak Sisters, Veronica D.
Veronica D, thank you very much.
And Gail M.
Gail M. Oop.
And they both are sitting on 118 episodes in a row.
Women rule. Thank you so much. Women rule.
There we go. Next up, we've got Jackie U, 58 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Jackie U.
Yeah, she's on the street.
Women rule.
By the way,
then we've got
there's a streak jingle that changed at 60, so Jackie U is just a couple episodes away from that.
So close. Now we've got Sir Casey, the Shield Knight, on 153 episodes in a row.
Well, yes, they call him the street.
The streak.
Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, 143 episodes in a row.
Well, yes, they call him the street.
Shadow streak.
That's staying on 2 feet.
And we got Sir James, Knight and Servant of the Lion of Judah on 85 episode streak.
We're going streaking. Come on, everybody, we're going. Come on.
There you go.
That was great. Wow, that was scary. My my connection disappeared for a second.
Oh, okay.
And apparently it reconnected in complete silence.
Oh.
So there we go. All right, there we go. That concludes the list of financial producers for this episode. And Gonz, we do have a knighting today. You saw this coming.
Are we going to knight first, or are we thanking people for their patronage first? Which one are
Let's knight first. We're already here.
Okay, hold on. You know, sometimes I got fingers already ready to fire off buttons, and so when we don't go, then I got to turn down the volume and, the whole deal. So, all right, we're ready to go.
You know, in moments like this, let's have a production meeting. In moments like
I'm trying
this,
to move
Gonz,
forward.
Whatever you're ready for, you just do that, because I don't know your situation over there. Okay, knighthood.
Knighthood.
Here we go. Let's get out our blades here. Let me see. Which one should I use today? That's the real question. I'm going to use this one.
Okay. Well, I got my standard here.
Okay. All right. We want to call up Redbeard. Please step forward to the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, where we have a seat for you. Thanks to your generous support in the amount of $1,000 or more, we are proud to pronounce you Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the Demoochers. Please join us at the Canary Cry Roundtable, where we have the belt of truthful truthiness, the breastplate of righteous righteousness, custom-fit Birkenstocks to carry forth the gospel of peace, the shield of ferocious faith, the helmet of substantiating salvation, the supernatural sword of the spirit, and, of course, adorable samurai babies, infinitely cute kitties for cuddling. And if you're hungry, we have Fancy Feast, Wet Food, Carved Cosmo, the Crisper Cow, and, of course, fried wormicorns. Welcome to the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the Demoochers. The crowd goes wild. Remember, folks, that was a new and exciting part of the process. We appreciate your support, Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the Demoochers, and we value you here at the round table. And anybody out there, you can work your way up to a place of honor, just like Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the Demoochers, which I enjoy saying very much. And I think that concludes this whole thing, Gonz. Thank
the whole thing.
Thank you, everyone, for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message! That's right. If you go to CanaryCry.Newstalk.com, there's a green tab. You hit that green tab, another button will appear. You use that button to leave us a message. You can say whatever you want. Just know that you are giving us permission to play it on the show, but it is not guaranteed. Gonz, who has left us a message today?
We got a message here from Rochelle.
Yes, I know it's Moan Day, but I just wanted to give a shout out to all of our canary mamas out there. I hope you had a great Mother's Day, and this one is for you. Proverbs 31 woman. Proverbs 31 woman, who can find such a virtuous wife? Makes you richer than rubies, all good all the days of her life. Proverbs 31 woman, providing the clothes on your back, starting you off with breakfast and a list of chores to keep track. Proverbs 31 woman, purchasing a piece of land, planting a vineyard, working through the night with a strong and steady hand. Proverbs 31 woman, no fear of getting cold. She sells her goods to the merchants while watching everything in her household. Proverbs 31 woman, clothed with strength and dignity, Her husband and children all blessed by her everlasting inner beauty. Thanks for being a good mama. Amen.
All right.
Amen. Thank you very much, Rochelle. Thank you to all the Canary Cry mommies out there.
Yeah.
Anything else? Is that it?
That's it. I think that was the only message.
There we go. Well, we're all done with this break, folks. We're going to jump into some too hot for YouTube material. So YouTubers, go find somewhere else to watch the show. Go to CanaryCry.Party if you don't know where.
Yep.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Twitch, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is, you can find all those links at CanaryCry.Party as well.
Too hot for YouTube.
Too hot for YouTube.
YouTube. Now you see me. Now you don't.
Click and gone.
Bye-bye.
It's Corona time. COVID-19. COVID-19. COVID-19.
COVID-19. Yes.
COVID-19. COVID-19.
Coronavirus.
Vaccine. Number one way.
MSN.com has mirrored the Indian Express with the headline, Explained, Counting India's COVID Deaths. Published yesterday at 3:30 p.m. Interesting.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Let's just read it. The World Health Organization report on excess mortality due to COVID-19 is the latest in a series of exercises in the last over a year. Exercises in the last over a year that tend to suggest India's official death toll is an undercount. The WHO, the World Health Organization, report has pegged India's excess mortality, people who probably would not have died if there was no pandemic, for 2020 and 2021 as 27.4 lakh, L-A-K-H, which I think is 100,000 or something, or a million? I forget.
Yeah. I think it's a word that means 100,000.
Okay. Several other studies have shown India's COVID-related death count at anywhere between 25 lakh to 60 lakh. In fact, the upper bound for the World Health Organization study is even higher. While these figures are being debated, many important nuances are being missed. The official count, any discussion on the undercount as of now is premature because India has not yet stopped counting its COVID deaths. The 5.24 lakh deaths counted until now is not the final official toll. The number is under constant revision almost daily and is likely to remain so for several months, if not years. Kerala, for example, is updating its death toll almost every day, and many other states have been doing it periodically. Which is, I know that that's a thing, but okay. I don't understand why this is a reason why you shouldn't believe the death count that the Indian health authorities are suggesting in opposition to the WHO here.
This is such an interesting tension between sort of the globalism and, trusting a nation to count their own people,
Yeah.
It's the WHO, again, sort of over-counting, as we've seen, well, pretty much everywhere.
Since the beginning, we read the documents on this show that was the whole procedural protocol to how to break down a COVID death if you're a practitioner. And, a lot of it had to do with judgment. And there was a whole set of what you're supposed to do if there aren't lab verified COVID, instances, which is probably a lot.
Incentivization problems as well.
Yeah. Right. The hospitals.
Yeah, there's so much wrong with it, and again, it's almost I can't believe it's still happening.
Yeah,
not that they're counting wrong, but that they are sort of it's like combat. It's like it's like this weird the philosophy of globalization trying to override the word or the bureaucracy of individual nations.
Yeah.
And India being an especially weird one because they are kind of caught in the middle of the whole Russia thing.
Right. Yeah. And and partly I think there's a translation type of barrier here, but I will read this paragraph. just to sort of see the logic, I guess, of trying to defend the WHO in this. Even the death numbers reported in 2020 and 2021 are not final. The more than 21,000 deaths Karela has reported in the last 4 months have not all happened this year. Most of them pertain to last year. The 1,300 deaths Assam added on April 25th did not all happen that day, or that month, or this year. They most likely happened the previous year. Several hundreds, possibly thousands of deaths that states adjusted in 2021 would have actually happened in 2020. The additions to the overall tally are being made on the day these deaths are being confirmed and not the day these might have happened. That would mean that even though the death count for 2020 still shows up as 1.49 lakhs, chances are that it had already been substantially corrected and may be revised even further at a later stage. Many of the deaths that would have happened in 2020 but are not included in the 1.49 lakh tally would have been accounted for at a larger or a later stage. Those deaths have not been missed. They will reflect in the statistics. The same is true for 2021. So basically they're trying to suggest that, like, yeah, over time, we're going to be proven right. You see, the numbers aren't all in yet, which is like, okay, but I don't know that they're in disagreement with that. I think they're looking at the numbers that they're collecting based on their protocol, which, you know, they have I would say fairly robust healthcare system there. It's not perfect, and no one's as perfect. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just interesting how they have to beat around the bush like this.
It's interesting because the Indian numbers have been a problem since the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been reading articles about COVID India numbers for years now. I can't believe I can say that.
Yeah.
For years, India has had an issue, you know, because they have a fairly rural, a large part of their population are rural villages. And, you know, it's kind of difficult to say who died from what like there is in the rural areas. It is significantly more difficult to get like clinical confirmation of why somebody died or what the deal is. And even not to mention sort of the corruption within, and by the way, just sort of notorious corruption within Indian government.
Yeah.
Has a lot to do with it. And I feel like the game that's being played here, and my feelings are based on what we know about the WHO and its sort of international relationships. I feel like these numbers are so important and the placement of them because it will determine sort of future protocols.
Yeah,
either future protocols.
Yeah.
Exactly. Future policy making, India's standing in the prioritization of different funding or aid from the WHO, things like that. And I don't exactly know which way it goes, but they are fighting. They're having this argument in such a heated fashion that it has to have some sort of allocation of resources attached to it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. It is let me just continue reading here because it gets into some good stuff. It is difficult to measure the scale of the undercount in a situation like this, particularly when the counting exercise is still on. Exercise. That's an exercise, folks.
Yeah, it's just an exercise.
A physical count and verification of the dead in a country as vast as India during such chaotic times is bound to take a little more time than running some equations in a computer model. Oh, we've been saying that for a long time. All of a sudden, when the numbers don't work for you, you could do better than some computer models. The WHO report does not get into calculating the scale of the undercount for India or any other country. It has done a more straightforward exercise of calculating excess mortality. It has estimated the total number of people who likely died in India in 2020 due to all causes, and from that has subtracted the expected number of all-cause deaths if there was no COVID. This excess deaths are considered to be a direct or indirect result of COVID-19. Okay, so after you just complained about computer models, you're explaining how flawed the WHO, the whole system is. And it's weird because, I don't know, do you not see that? Why would you still support it if you're I guess maybe money. I don't know.
I'm being reminded by Emily in the chat. India is sort of the foremost nation in as far as development, acceptance, and sort of ubiquitousness of digital ID.
Yep. What is it called? The Bashar or the Bazaar or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, they basically they've been doing it for a long time, but they were definitely the most aggressive in the digital ID,
the biometric ID
experiment, biometric specifically. Yeah. During the pandemic, I mean, they were very aggressive.
I remember making videos about it before the pandemic, where they went to a whole community and they had to exchange their basically biometric data for a new ID to, be able to stay in the area and stuff. It's pretty, crazy stuff going on over there.
No, they were. You couldn't get your rations. People were dying. They were starving to death because they wouldn't get their government rations because of their digital ID or their lack of biometric ID.
Yeah.
So this was a big deal. It did kind of pass through the news cycle. This must have been
ago.
Well, early 21, definitely, at least early 21. But because it was connected to the vaccine thing.
Right.
So, yeah, I imagine that probably has something to do with
Adhar. Was it Adhar? Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
AADHAAR. Right. Adhar. Right. Yeah, there you go. That's what it was called.
Mm-hmm. So it's probably some sort of global policy. They have to hit some sort of global policy numbers in order to take the next step or show that they had way higher deaths, and then they instigated the biometric ID, and now they have way lower deaths or something.
Listen to this.
Okay.
It is often argued that because multiple studies have been pointing to similar estimates, they must be reflective of the true death toll in the country. What is being overlooked is that these studies have been throwing up similar estimates probably because they have all been using similar mathematical models and statistical methods. The researchers and those doing peer reviews belong to an overlapping set of people. What these studies certainly show is that there is a general agreement in academic circles on the usefulness of these models in the current situation, possibly based on their ability to simulate the reality in some earlier situations. That, however, is no guarantee that these models have an unquestionable capability to accurately mimic the dynamics of the current pandemic, whose nature and behavior is far from fully understood. Thus, listen to the WHO's data. Computer modeling is routinely used by academics to simulate real-life situations. The accuracy of their results depend on the underlying quality of data and assumptions because of multiple layers of extrapolations involved. Slight changes in assumptions or input data can significantly alter results. Yeah, we've been saying that for a long time about the, climate change stuff. All that climate change stuff is based on computer models. So, and even COVID was based on a computer model with how many people would die if it was allowed to spread in the U.S. So there you go.
Yeah, and these computer models are used as justification or the reason for, some pretty authoritarian policies, and it's always been that way.
Right. To estimate India's COVID toll, the WHO study has relied, among various sources, on death registration data from the Civil Registration System, CRS. Several media houses had published monthly CRS data for a few states last year, and these numbers did not always match. Depending on which publication was selected to pick these numbers from, the output of the mathematical model would have been different. Okay, so the WHO is even saying that, they're looking at the same set of data. So I don't know. Are they? I can't tell if there's being anti-WHO or if they're still listen to the WHO. It's just weird how. I don't know if it's a translation thing with this article, but maybe they're also anti-WHO and they're just sort of trying to lay out the reasons why. But it's kind of hard with the translation.
Yeah, this was the India Times.
Yeah, the India Times. So, but
I know that the Indian. It depends who owns the India Times, really.
Right.
Because honestly, the Indian government is the one pushing back on the WHO, and but it would not be unusual for the India Times to be owned by some globalist who is trying to influence the population.
And then you have an author here who sees it, but understands the dilemma he's in, or he or she is in, and they have to write, whatever. They got to twist it or turn it. It's their own form of propaganda. But anyway, it's just more of what we've been seeing, which is a lot of I told you so's and called it and all that kind of stuff. When it comes
the fun
to
part
the count,
is that this certainly will not stop at India.
Oh no!
And just because we have new things in the news cycle, we've got Ukraine, we've got Roe versus Wade, we've got all sorts of things. Nobody wants to talk about COVID as a virus, much less the continuing march towards the policies that were begun during the COVID era. Just because it's not in the news anymore, it doesn't mean that international globalized biometric IDs and et cetera, aren't being. I mean, again, remember Roe versus Wade, essentially being overturned as it's a legal precedent. It's not a law. It's not even about, abortion. I mean, it's been made about abortion, but it's a legal precedent, and overturning the legal precedent guaranteeing privacy between your doctor and you is part of the meta narrative that we're watching play out. That biometric digital ID is required for the Great Reset, is required. Just because it's not in the news doesn't mean Klaus Schwab isn't still working for it, folks. So really, this little tuffle between the WHO and India is indicative of the march towards that Great Reset infrastructure, the technocratic infrastructure.
We need a great reset.
Learn to use the dark side of the Force.
And the very idea that individual nations aren't responsible enough to keep their own numbers. You must rely on globalized organizations.
Right. Standardized numbers.
Yeah. So, all right, let's jump on over and check out, speaking of the Great Reset, actually.
Yeah. And we've been saying, ever since they fired up CERN, strange things are afoot.
Yes, strange things are afoot. This is coming from the New York Times. That's headline.
It's an opinion piece, too.
Yes.
Which is interesting. Yeah.
By Ezra Klein, no less.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a big thing here. TikTok, Gonz. TikTok may be more dangerous than it looks.
Huh?
Ooh, looks like Ezra Klein.
Conspiracy theorist Ezra Klein?
Ezra Klein has been tuning in to the show, it seems. At the core of the frenzied interest in Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter is an intuition that I think is right. The major social media platforms are, in some hard-to-define way, essential to modern life. Call them town squares, call them infrastructure. They exist in some nether region between public utility and private concern. They are too important to entrust to billionaires and businesses, but that makes them too dangerous to hand over to governments. We have not yet found a satisfying answer to the problem of their ownership and governance, but some arrangements are more worrying than others. There are fates worse than Musk. Which is silly to see written, but really bizarre to see written in the New York Times.
Yeah, I thought they were all about
Ezra
it, man.
Klein.
Yeah.
TikTok, as we know it today, is only a few years old, but its growth is like nothing we've seen before. In 2021, it had more active users than Twitter, more US watch minutes than YouTube, more app downloads than Facebook, more site visits than Google. The app is best known for viral dance trends, but there was a time when Twitter was 140 character updates about lunch orders and Facebook was restricted to elite universities. Things change. Perhaps they have already changed. A few weeks ago, I gave a lecture at a Presbyterian college in South Carolina and asked some of the students where they liked to get their news. Almost everyone said TikTok. Oh no, Gonz, do we need to get a TikTok? TikTok is owned by
No, we shall. That's we will. I will. No.
Ezra Klein, tell me, should I get a TikTok? TikTok is owned by ByteDance, a Chinese company, and Chinese companies are vulnerable to the whims and the will of the Chinese government. There's no possible ambiguity on this point. Huh. Sounds like a 2020 Canary Cry episode. The Chinese Communist Party spent much of the last year cracking down on its tech sector. They made a particular example out of Jack Ma, the high-flying founder of Alibaba. The message was unmistakable. Chief executives will act in accordance with party wishes or see their lives upended and their companies dismembered. In August 2020, President Donald Trump signed an executive order insisting that TikTok sell itself to an American firm or be banned by the United States. By the fall, ByteDance was looking for a buyer, with Oracle and Walmart the likeliest suitors, but then Joe Biden won the election and the sale was shelved.
We didn't hear much about that.
Didn't hear much about that, did you? We did actually mention it, but you really did not hear much after that.
There wasn't a lot of not a lot of media play, that's for sure.
So it seems like Trump was okay. All right, Ezra Klein. In June, Biden replaced Trump's executive order, which was sloppily written and being successfully challenged in court, with one of his own. The problem, as Biden's order defines it, is that apps like TikTok, quote, can access and capture vast swaths of information from users, including United States persons' personal information and proprietary business information. This data collection threatens to provide foreign adversaries with access to that information. Let's call this data espionage problem. Apps like TikTok collect data from users. That data could be valuable to foreign governments. Man, isn't it nice, Gonz, to hear the New York Times finally catch up to our grand theories that we've been putting out for years?
Well, they have to survive at this point.
I know. It's almost like we are the new mainstream. Yeah. That's why the Army and Navy banned TikTok from soldiers' work phones, and why Senator Josh Hawley wrote a bill to ban it on all government devices. TikTok is working on an answer, quote, Project Texas, a plan to host data for U.S. customers on U.S. servers and somehow restrict access by its parent company. But as Emily Baker White of BuzzFeed News writes in an excellent report, quote, Project Texas appears to be primarily an exercise in geography, one that seems well positioned to address concerns about the Chinese government accessing Americans' personal information, but it does not address other ways that China would weaponize the platform, like tweaking TikTok algorithms to increase exposure to divisive content, or adjusting the platform to seed or encourage disinformation campaigns. I love the word could in that sentence.
China could weaponize.
Oh, they could do it. As if that wasn't the point the whole time. Yeah. Okay. Good job, BuzzFeed News. Let's call this the manipulation problem. TikTok's real power isn't over our data. It's over what users watch and create. It's over the opaque algorithm that governs what gets seen and what doesn't. That's why we wouldn't see it anyways. TikTok has been thick with videos backing the Russian narrative on the war in Ukraine. Media Matters, for instance, tracked an apparent coordinated campaign driven by 186 Russian TikTok influencers who normally post beauty tips, prank videos, and fluff. And we know that China...
hold on. The U.S. had their own little TikTok.
Oh, but that doesn't count. Right? That doesn't count. The $1 billion that the Biden administration paid to influencers.
Yeah, what about them?
For pro-vaccine propaganda.
Doing the exact same thing.
That's different.
Accuse Russians.
That's different. And we know that China has been amplifying Russian propaganda worldwide. How comfortable are we with not knowing whether the Chinese Communist Party decided to weigh in on how the algorithms treat these videos? What do you mean? How comfortable are we not knowing? We absolutely know. How comfortable will we be with a similar situation in 5 years when TikTok is even more entrenched in the lives of Americans and the company has freedom it may not feel today to operate as it pleases? Imagine a world in which the United States has a contested presidential election, as it did in 2020, to say nothing of 2000. If one candidate was friendlier to Chinese interests, might the Chinese Communist Party insist that ByteDance give a nudge to content favoring that candidate? Or if they wanted to weaken America rather than shape the outcome, maybe TikTok begins serving up more and more videos with election conspiracies.
Our time has come. We're going to make it. Get a TikTok.
Maybe we do need to. Maybe TikTok's our place, man.
We'll
Sowing
gladly
chaos.
feed the algo.
They may have been creating their algo just for us.
Yeah.
Sowing chaos. See the propaganda rooster agrees.
Chiming in.
Chaos at a moment when the country is near fracture.
Oh yeah, our time will come. Well, only when the country is in near fracture will people turn to us.
That does actually seem to be how it goes.
It's been about how
when things are falling apart is when people go, I wonder what the Canary boys think about this. When things are nice, they're off doing something else.
They're debating
watching
flat
the dance
Earth
videos.
Yeah.
None of this is far-fetched. We know that the gall that a New York Times opinion writer has to basically state the conspiracy theory that we've been talking about for years and then suddenly call it not far-fetched is insulting.
If we're having this conversation at like a cocktail party or something like that, and this dude went there with that's not far-fetched. That's the kind of punch him invitation,
The propaganda rooster.
Yeah, the propaganda rooster agrees. All right.
We know that TikTok's content moderation guidelines clamp down on videos and topics at the Chinese government's behest, though it says its rules have changed since then. We know that our foreign countries, Russia comes to mind, have used American social networks to drive division and doubt. It is telling that China sees such dangers as obvious enough to have built a firewall against them internally.
Hold on.
They've banned...
Before you go on, just real quick, on that last sentence, we know that other foreign countries, Russia comes to mind, have used American social networks to drive division and doubt. What did we just report? The CIA asking for Russian deterrence.
The exact
same thing, using American social networks to drive division and doubt. Okay, sorry, go on.
Let's see. They've banned Facebook and Google and Twitter and yes, TikTok. TikTok is banned in China. ByteDance has had to manage a different version of the app known as Douyin for Chinese audiences, one that abides by the rules of Chinese censors. China has long seen these platforms as potential weapons. As China's authoritarian turn continues and as relations between our countries worsen, it is not far-fetched to suspect they might do unto us what they have always feared we would do unto them.
No, what is that?
No analogies are perfect, but the closest analogy I can think of is to imagine the Brezhnev-era Soviet Union had decided to plow some of its oil export profits.
Yeah, if the Brezhnev era. Yeah, go ahead.
Into buying up broadcast television stations across the U.S. My former colleague, Matthew Iglesias, wrote in his newsletter, Slow Boring, quote, the FCC wouldn't have let them. And if the FCC for some reason did let them, the Commerce Department would have blocked it. And if a judge said the Commerce Department was wrong and control over the information ecosystem didn't meet the relevant national security standard, Congress would have passed a new law. As analogies go, I think that's a good starting point. But if the Soviet Union had bought up local television stations across the nation, we'd know they had done it. And there'd be an understanding of what those stations were and what they were attempting. Just as was true with Russia today, the propaganda would be known as propaganda. TikTok's billion users don't think they're looking at a Chinese government propaganda operation. Because for the most part, they're not. They're watching makeup tutorials and recipes and lip sync videos and funny dances. But what would make it all more powerful propaganda outlet if deployed, he says, Gonz. And because each TikTok feed is different, we have no real way of knowing what people are seeing. It would be trivially easy to use it to shape or distort public opinion and to do so quietly, perhaps untraceably.
Yeah.
And all of this...
untraceable to this guy.
I'm having heart palpitations listening to this guy sort of unpack what we've been saying for years.
But then denying it at the same time. It's unreal.
And denying it, you're right,
talented.
at the same time. In all of this, I'm suggesting a simple principle, albeit one that will not be simple to apply. Our collective attention is important. It's also important to magicians. Propaganda, you rooster, leave me alone.
We need to soundproof.
Whoever or whatever controls our attention controls, to a large degree, our future. The social media platforms that hold and shape our attention need to be governed in the public interest. That means knowing who's truly running them and how they're running them. I'm not sure which of the social network owners currently clear that bar, but I'm certain ByteDance doesn't. On this, Donald Trump was right, and the Biden administration should finish what he started. Am I dead? Have I died, Gonzo? Am I in some sort of reverse bizarro hell realm where the New York Times and Ezra Klein is saying that Donald Trump was right about China? China! Biden administration should finish what Donald Trump started. The kids in cages.
CERN has definitely spun up, folks. Welcome to the show.
The Large Hadron Collider has teleported me into some sort of dark mirror realm. Let me out of here. I miss my beautiful home. I miss my truth rooster. Now I have this propaganda rooster demon yelling during my podcast, and the New York Times is saying Donald Trump was right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
As much as Ezra Klein had a meltdown, this has caused you quite the meltdown. It's happening on both sides, apparently.
It's happening.
He had a crisis in identity. You can tell with his writing here.
I think perhaps he wrote this as some sort of incantation to make me question all of my life choices. All right, Ezra Klein. Well, I'm glad you're on board now, buddy. And
well, he's not though. He is, but he's not. He's like, I see you, but then he's like,
but
I must keep my paycheck going.
Yeah,
with the New York Times.
We need to somehow immortalize this moment in time. I guess we could do a podcast on it.
When the New York Times an NFT.
That's right. Yeah, NFT. On this, Donald Trump was right. The Biden administration should finish what he started. What is going on where the New York Times suddenly, out of nowhere, is allowed to reverse their stance against the Chinese Communist Party?
I'm wondering.
We need to check the records and see what ownership has changed.
Yeah, I was going to say, because we know that there were heavy Chinese investors or influencers attached to some of the ownership at the New York Times, and I'm wondering. I haven't seen any news that anything's changed, but maybe they have.
It was the Mexican billionaire who owned a big stake in New York Times, who was basically a Chinese proxy.
Right.
He made his billions with dealing with the Chinese Communist Party, and it was part of some deal with them that he bought a large stake in the New York Times.
I'm wondering if these are signs, and I mentioned this in the last episode, when China takes over Taiwan and the West lays out sanctions against China, we're going to see a much more awful disruption in this country anyway, in terms of goods and services, mostly goods, because we got a lot of stuff made in China. When all that stops, it's going to disrupt our country. So prepare for that, and as you will.
Possibly the universe.
So to that theory or thesis about what may take place in a few short years or maybe months, who knows, is some back-end changes when it comes to, like the New York Times, a well-established American outlet, news outlet. Maybe the money has changed hands, or maybe they've I don't know. Maybe they've moved stuff around because they know that the West and the U.S. and everything, they're going to sanction China in the next few years in the same way they've done to Russia. And so let's get our ducks in order before they pull the trigger on everything.
Good point. Great point. It's the repositioning. We've seen the repositioning after the COVID thing, where suddenly the news organizations are doing a great job at repositioning their stance culturally on anti-vaxxers and maskers and anti-maskers. And can you believe that our institutions failed when they were the ones who are immediately responsible for fracturing our culture, fracturing our society. The news corporations are the ones responsible, but they're also the ones with the easiest route back to convincing us that they had nothing to do with it.
Some kind of equilibrium. Reversal
in the
of
same
time.
way, right? In the same way, because they are the ones who get to write history and rewrite history.
Right.
They seem to be doing the same thing now that the writing is on the wall about China and Russia.
Yep.
So
There you go.
I think you should cheer us up by telling us what's going on in California there, Gonz.
Newsome science, baby! Ha!
I don't know that it's exciting. It's depressing.
Okay.
I want to present to you some a sequence of information here that's been published on some outlets, and you tell me what's going to happen to me and my fellow humans in California here.
Okay.
DesertSun.com headline from May 1st, so about a week old. California just shy of 100% powered by renewables for first time. It says here that renewable electricity provided just shy of 100% of California's electricity demand on Saturday, a record breaker, officials said. Much of it from large amounts of solar power now produced alongside Interstate 10, an hour east of the Coachella Valley, where they just had the big concert there. Maybe it's one big ritual. Environmentalists over the weekend celebrated as an official online supply tracker surged to 101%. But a power official said late Monday that they had double-checked the data and adjusted it slightly due to battery charging and reserves and other resource needs. So, a little dampening
that's
of the
interesting.
party.
Coming from the state that just consistently has rolling blackouts every single year.
That's what I was going to say. There were some people on Twitter, for example, this is Brian Tyler Cohen. He's got a show. What was it called? He's got about 500,000 followers on Twitter. He's a political commentator. No Lie with BTC, Brian Taylor Cohen. And he tweeted out, wow, on Saturday, California was powered just shy of 100%, 99.87% by renewables, a record breaker, huge win for energy that is cheaper, cleaner, and safer. And then just a few days later, Sacramento Bee, headline. Risk of further outages. California warns of blackouts as another hot summer looms. So, are we good or are we going to die? Like, what is happening here? I'm getting mixed signals, Basil. I don't know how I'm supposed to prepare.
That's interesting. That is funny. I wonder. Let me see if I can spin a tale here.
Okay.
So, bragging about how we've hit 100%.
Yes.
You've hit 100% in California.
Yeah. Renewables.
Propaganda Rooster agrees, baby. Maybe it almost seems like a signal to slow investment.
Right. Movement of capital. This is a big shift in capital. Yeah. So it could be.
Yeah. It's like for a long time, it's been invest, renewables, invest, renewables. And it's like, okay, we got enough. Move the money somewhere else.
The money needs to go somewhere else.
Which is a great way to hide the fact that renewables really could never 100% cover the energy needs.
Yeah.
I mean, not every day. Maybe on one day when it's sunny across the entire.
Renewable Sundays shall be the law. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. This sounds like a setup for an investment shift, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Gavin Newsom, we've got some big plans for changing around how things work around here. So
you don't even need to say anything else. Oh, Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go.
Good luck with those blackouts. You know what? The other side of that is that the blackouts are built in. They're a feature, not a bug.
Right.
And you have 100% of what you need because they counted the blackouts into the 100%. Okay. They say, well, we need 14 days of blackouts throughout the year just to sort of control the population's expectation of living in California. So, 100% is including those 14 days of blackouts. How to lie with statistics, that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, well, and I love that this article is like, oh, it hit 101%. And then they kind of went in there and tinkered. They adjusted slightly. They double checked some data and adjusted slightly. And it went under 100%. But, if it's so easy to adjust things slightly and have a 2% effect, talk about simulations and algorithms and, all the manipulation that can happen there.
If your worldview is built by the mainstream media, you are living in a simulation created by the masters of worldview creation, which are the lizard people who control your flow of information, and they're trying to do the same through pretty much every mass outlet. And I will say they have not approached us with an offer yet. So,
I'd like to keep it that way, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah. As long as the value for value system keeps rolling, baby. And that's not just financially. That includes time and talent. And I think it's time to thank some more producers.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
This is our second break where we thank our producers who come in with their talent. CanaryCry News Talk is a place for therapeutic reflection of our troubling world, and we encourage those of you out there who are listening, watching, participating to create something, art, music, jingles, something that expresses the turmoil, the chaos, the comedy of what is happening out there. And we'd like to share it here so that we can process all of it together. And to start things off today, we're going to start with, we're starting with the start at the beginning. That's
a good place to start
with audio producers.
Audio production.
And it's a note from, or a piece from Psalm 40 with a note. Salutations, my lads. I hope everyone had a blessed weekend, a bountiful Sabbath, and a beautiful Mother's Day. This week, I present to you the book of Ephesians. It's ironic you, Gonz, mentioned wanting to hear more strings. You'll figure out why soon enough. It had steadily become more and more difficult for me to put these tracks together, so I may need to take a hiatus soon. That's totally fine. I do have something in the bag for next week, but I just feel like it's going to slow down soon. God bless and enjoy. That's okay. We understand.
There's got to be like 20 tracks or something. I mean,
there's
doing these regularly for so long. It's been very impressive.
Yeah, here's a little piece of Psalm 40's Ephesians. Let's go. Here it is.
Because of the great love our God has for us, because of his mercy and compassion, even when we were dead in our sins, he has made us alive in Christ. By his grace, we have been saved and risen up with Christ. This is not our own doing. It is a gift from God. We are his creation.
I like it. We'll play the rest of it at the end of the show.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Is that a mandolin, ukulele or something? Was it guitar?
It seemed like more of a mandolin vibe to me.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Psalm 40.
Very cool. Thank you very much. We will be playing that at the Canary Cry mixtape at the end of the show. And also, just a heads up, I've been working with multiple producers to really lock down the Canary Cry mixtape, make it available in all of the normal zones where people listen to music. So we'll keep everybody posted on that.
Yep. Time for some art.
One art, please.
I'm going to kick it off with Dame Allie of the Skillet Nation.
One art, please. Another one from Allie now. Here it is.
And it came with a quote from an article. Hold on, where's my article here?
This was a tweet, I believe, from Governor Kathy Hochul.
Kathy Hochul, that's right. Kathy Hochul got COVID. All right, it says here, today I tested positive for COVID-19. Thankfully, I'm vaccinated and boosted, and I'm asymptomatic. I'll be isolating and working remotely this week. A reminder to all New Yorkers, get vaccinated and boosted, get tested, and stay home if you don't feel well.
This is Kathy Hochul was the woman who took over. Replacement
Cuomo.
for Cuomo, and gave that speech about "You are my apostle."
Right, that's right.
Sort of comparing herself to the vaccine messiah.
Yeah.
Saying, "You are my apostles. Go out there and tell Christians to get vaccinated."
Yeah,
It's
and this
incredibly
is
offensive.
And this flex is kind of weird too. You know, I was thinking too, the whole snake thing and whatever, right? Aside from that point, think about these people that are now like, for example, Hochul here. They're like, I got COVID, which is, could have come from snakes, but it's nothing. I'm vaccinated. I'm boosted. It's not. It's nothing.
No problemo. Doesn't even affect me.
I'll just be over here in my cave for a little while. I got to reskin, but I'll be back.
Got a reskin. And with the tweet here, we've got a fantastic headshot portrait pencil drawing of Kathy Hochul with her big old toothy smile and those crooked little lizard eyeballs there. She is just happy as a clam, it looks, and wonderfully done, Dame Allie. Yes, almost to perfection here.
Yeah.
She kind of looks like she is regrowing her snake skin over on the right side of the picture there.
Yeah.
Which was probably accurate.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Dame Allie.
I think Allie's lizard people meter was off the charts with this one. And you can always tell with how much shade she gives to the eyes. But this one's like, it's very clear. It's lizard person.
Oh, yes, it is apparent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dame Allie.
All right. Next up, we have Sir Dove, Knight of Rospeltia.
One art piece from Dove.
And he has a note here. Peace for this week's Bible artwork. I have an illustration of the full armor of God for Psalm 40's new Ephesians track. And one from Psalm 97:10. Ye that love the Lord hate evil. He preserveth the soul of his saints. He delivereth them out of the hand of the wicked. Hope you guys like him. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins. So we're doing the armor of God first there.
Yes, really, really cool piece here. We've got, a man in armor, sort of a combination of sort of like priestly garb, but also armor. It's the armor of God here.
And we've got the 12 little, I forgot what they were called. Like the
ephod?
chest piece, the ephod. Yeah, I think so. Well, they have the
It's where the and thummim are kept.
Right.
But it's sort of reminiscent of that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if
it's
that's
not
an
the
exact
same stone
thing, but it's got
thing,
the tribes on it, the 12 tribes on the breastplate. And yes, he's got these things sort of very stylistically labeled here. Of course, the helm of helmet. Oh man,
helmet
this
of
font
salvation
is so cool, but takes a trained eye. We've got the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the shield of faith. Let's see here. What is a loins gird with truth, sword of the spirits, and feet shod with the gospel.
Yep.
Very cool piece here. And on this big shield, he's actually got the crown of thorns that appears on the Canary Cry seal, the logo there.
Yeah.
The shield on the logo. So we got a nice connection there, baby. Thank you very much, Sir Dove.
Yep. And then the other one is the Psalm 97. He delivers them from the hand of the wicked.
Yes.
And there's a giant devil hand.
Yes, it's sort of a starry night background and a big red scary hand reaching down and cute little sheep running away being delivered from the hand of the wicked. Thank you very much, Sir Dove.
Thank you, Sir Dove. That does it for the artwork today. Yeah.
Nice and easy.
Yep,
Love it.
Yep.
Thank you to the artists. We do have some microfictions.
Yes, we do.
Microfiction.
Microfiction.
And we actually have two today. The first one is from Rung Smash.
As the husky and hairy Runksmash dons his robes for his second inauguration as an illuminated lizard master shill, he is unaware that I, technically anonymous, have been laying in wait for him. The simple fool steps into my snare. It's truly a great reset.
Whoa, that's getting pretty intense there. That's
getting meta, baby.
Yeah.
Love it.
Whoa.
Thank you very much, Runk Smash.
Thank you, Runk Smash. The other piece we have here is from the Sentinel. Sentinel's back.
Basil stares at the old box. This is for you. Open the... Gonz says in a caring way. Basil's hand wipes off a layer of dust, revealing a symbol of winged rollerblades treading on a serpent. He opens the box slowly. Inside, he sees an old pair of glossy white Joshua's rollerblades. The golden lacing and wheels catch the light and shimmer brightly. Basil's heart leaps from his chest. He knows only 144 pairs had ever been made of this specific kind. He begins to cry softly. Thank you, Gonz. Let the training continue, Gonz replies.
Get back inside.
I just wanted to keep it going.
Yeah, it was a real outro there. Thank you very much, the Sentinel, and all of our artists and producers who added to this show. The value of the culture, the value of the show. We appreciate it very much.
Yep, thank you very much. And just a quick note, I wanted to say, hopefully he's listening, Sir Tyler Gonz, we did update your title in the roundtable page.
Yes.
So yeah,
thank you for the email.
Thank you for the email. Yeah, I appreciate it. It was good hearing from you. And yeah, there you go. There's that.
Okay, sounds good. Yes, we have lots of things to update, and we are working on it. But we're back in action. So
yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up!
Sorry,
gotta wake up.
Gotta wake up. Yeah, all right, we gotta wake up again.
It's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up!
We're waking up twice. That's how awake we are. We're so
awake.
You don't know what you're looking at.
What's driving that thing? It's not a space alien.
Aliens. It's unidentified.
It's unidentified. Aliens. Hey. I love it. Okay, this is dailystar.co.uk, and the headline here, aliens could already be living here on Earth. Shadow biosphere, or in a shadow biosphere, scientists claim. Okay, what is the shadow biosphere?
Biosphere sounds like some sort of spiritual realm.
Humans have been perplexed by the wonders hidden beyond the stars since the beginning of their existence. Oh, has it? With the main question being, is there life out there? Astronomers have been gazing out into the night sky for thousands of years in an attempt to better understand the universe. But it has only been in the last century that we've developed the technology, hyperlinked, to study space, hyperlinked, further than what our eyes can see. Yet, with all the telescopes and equipment at our disposal, we still have not discovered any signs of life on any planets besides our own. What is going on? But one potential reason we haven't discovered aliens yet could be because we are looking for all the wrong things in the wrong places. Some scientists have argued we don't have to look very far at all to find aliens, and they could actually be living among us on Earth in a different dimension.
Dun, dun, dun.
You mean like how theologians and just religions in general have been saying for
the descriptions
since the beginning of time?
Yes, that it's all right here. You don't need to go to another planet. Aliens are interdimensional spiritual beings.
It's just hilarious. It's yeah. Anyway, okay.
One theory
theory long touted by ufologists, including astronomer Jacques Vallée, who co-developed the first computerized map of Mars for NASA in 1963, is the interdimensional hypothesis, or IDH, which suggests that aliens may exist in other quote-unquote realities or dimensions parallel to our own. And I quoted Jacques Vallée in Age of Deceit as one of the my argument in the film was that, you know, the sort of scientific quote unquote thinking is already pointing to a spiritual world, and eventually that will be mainstreamed, and that's when I think we'll see some crazy weird stuff. I mean, we're already seeing it, but you know, when it becomes normalized, that's when it's like, oh boy, here we go. With no clear, this is what's important right here. With no clear definition of what life actually is, scientists and astronomers may be making a huge mistake assuming that life beyond our planet is anything like what it is on Earth. If we can change we've been seeing this change of definition of words for various purposes. But if you can redefine what life is, scientists and astronomers, then it opens up a whole new reality, a whole new dimension, literally, where exploration can take place. I think that this is pretty remarkable that they're going there with this.
As far as a mainstream thing goes, it's look, people think we're fringy and weird now. You should have seen us in 2012 when we were talking about this kind of stuff. Yeah, where you know, why are we looking out into? It's not about outer space. It's about what's happening around us in other realms right now. Yeah, and you know, some very thorough scholarly authorships on this. We've talked to plenty of people who have spent their time breaking down the facts, well, the theories at least, that aliens are not aliens and they're not in outer space. But it sounds like finally it's making it into the mainstream. I love it.
A little bit, you know, a little bit by bit. Speaking to The Guardian, astrobiologist Helen Sharman said, quote, there are so many billions of stars out there in the universe that there must be all sorts of different forms of life. Will they be like you and me, made up of carbon and nitrogen? Maybe not. It's possible they're right here now, and we simply can't see them.
Almost like we talked about in the Light episode of Canary Cry Radio.
And this is where we start making connections to Antarctica. We will get to Antarctica here, but a title that we keep seeing in the context of Antarctica. Geobiologist Victoria.
Not a real job. Not the real job. Made up job.
I love how Trumpian you are about that. Made up job, fake job, not real.
Not a real job.
Not a real job. Geobiologist Victoria Orphan, how dare you offend an orphan, Basil? Come on. Of the California Institute of Technology, has also suggested that some living things may exist in a quote-unquote shadow biosphere.
Shadow biosphere. Wow. See, this is basically another name for another dimension.
Yeah, totally, right?
But it's kind of spookier.
It is spooky.
So a biosphere is, I mean, we could look up the official definition, but it's basically just like the collection of all the living things.
All the organisms. So to speak,
and how they're interconnected. That's called the biosphere.
Right.
But to say there's a shadow biosphere is literally saying there is an invisible realm of living things
in a network
that are networked together and exist all around us.
It sounds, and this ties into the psychedelics conversation as well. I mean, it ties into all kinds of stuff. Addressing attendees at a American Association for the Advancement of Science meeting in 2015, Orphan said scientists who search for life on the central dogma that all living things rely on the same handful of chemical elements to survive may be missing the boat due to their lack of considerations for organisms that do things slightly different. Currently, NASA's unofficial definition for life is, quote, a self-sustaining chemical system capable of Darwinian evolution.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
The name of Darwin is in the definition of life. That the ability to evolve
is by definition required for life, according to NASA.
Yeah.
That is a very heavy thing. I did not know that was their definition.
Yeah, this is, see, that's why, I was telling you before the show, Basil, that I was like, I thought about putting this in block A, like right at the top of the show.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was a huge deal, but, and go with
it is a big deal.
Go with the blueprint with the crazy weird stuff at the end, but there's more.
And
there's more.
It's interesting, especially if you've, the electric universe, the electromagnetic reality all around us, this sort of thing, is not an unknown sort of theory or science, really.
Right. Yeah. And especially, who's really tapped into that technology or that science?
I would say NASA would be.
Russia.
Oh,
Russia has spent decades, and they have their own kind of fringy science over there, and people take it seriously. It was Russia that had that weird pyramid structure, and they claimed that they were able to grow all these vegetables and stuff like way bigger when they grew them inside.
The electromagnetic currents and stuff.
Yeah. So I think perhaps we are preparing for the rollout of that technology, and it's based on what country is going to get there first or do it the right way or whatever. So interesting.
These are each episode. We don't do this on purpose, but they kind of develop themes.
Yeah.
And I think, and we just kind of spot the themes as they go. And I think the theme for this episode is the soft disclosure.
Yeah. Just telling us how it is.
And that we were right all along. And,
Yeah.
But that's our theme to every show nowadays.
Here's our CERN has fired up moment. Lynn Rothschild, who serves NASA's Ames Research Center as an astrobiologist, told the news alerts, quote, "You can't hunt for something if you have no idea what it is." Profound. Brain exploding.
Whoa. Took a Rothschild to tell us that.
Drop some truth there, Lynn Rothschild. Astrobiologist from NASA. Okay. She continues, quote, "I believe that what we have right now are non-natural definitions of life because we have only one data point. I wonder whether life is just what we define it to be."
Whoa.
What? Do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Yes, we can define life to whatever we want it to be.
Wow. Meanwhile, University of Cambridge zoologist Arik Kirschenbaum, author of the book The Zoologist's Guide to the Galaxy, explains, quote, "NASA needs a definition of life so it knows how to build detectors and what kinds of instruments to use on its missions. It would be wrong to assume that our familiar biochemistry is what we're going to find on other planets." The zoologist adds, quote, "We may discover systems that are so weird and unexpected that we can't quite decide whether they are alive or not."
Oh, wow.
But if we discover something really interesting and complex that doesn't quite fit the definition of life, that's still a really exciting achievement. We're not going to ignore it because it doesn't fit our definition. Basil, they're getting ready to reveal some crazy, demonic, spiritual realm stuff.
You wouldn't think this is alive, but it is. We've changed our definition.
I mean, think about what that means, man. That's craziness.
Yeah. Well,
let me add
to
this.
A point. I think there is an interesting point. Again, keep in mind the context that this is a Rothschild and the.
Well, we don't know if it's a Rothschild, like from
all
the
Rothschilds are Rothschilds.
True.
But
in spirit.
What was I going to say?
I don't know.
Okay, so we're talking about the definition of life, changing the definition of life, at least according to NASA, is very interesting. Very interesting idea to do that. And totally in line with our current momentum to changing definitions of things to better fit the current paradigm of what we're working with.
Saving humanity. We must save humanity. Yeah. And here's some, just to add to this whole backdrop of the shadow biosphere. I think headlines like this are preparing. You remember what we just read, to prepare the masses, to prepare the public for possible whatever. All these things it works the predictive programming of the general public. This is news.com.au, and the headline: "Mysterious black cube spotted on the sun before NASA website shuts down." And you're like, oh my gosh, what are you talking? Whoa, mysterious black cube. And, you know, I saw the footage and we're showing it here on the screen. I mean, I guess it's pretty pixelated. It's not as exciting as it, and then the explanation that NASA gave is, it's just unfortunate timing because we had to go into maintenance right at that moment.
Oh, that's why they took it down.
Yeah, right when the cube was shown. And if you look at the picture, I mean, I don't know if it's a cube.
It's a square. It's a square for sure.
It's square-ish.
There's difference between a square and a cube. Maybe it's a life form, Gonz.
But I think this is part of...
The little video is kind of fun, though.
Yeah, well, I think this is part of the SEO of capturing Black Cube. Why else would they talk about Black Cube? You know, Black Cube being having a reference to Saturn worship and the occult and all that stuff. Alchemy. Yeah. I mean, it all feels like it's all coming together. Anyway.
All coming together.
It's cold.
Well, speaking...
Let's go. Antarctica, go first.
It's a snowstorm. Antarctica. Ice scientists are penguins.
Antarctica, they're opening the abyss.
Sorry, I stepped on you there.
Geobiologists have led us once again to Antarctica. This is coming from Asia1.com. Quote, this is not a quote. This is a headline. This Singapore-based entrepreneur just completed carbon-negative trip to Antarctica. Here are her tips to stay green. Okay.
Now,
and then we've got...
Yeah. Go ahead.
You want to talk about the picture?
Yeah. Because
tell us about it.
There's the two people. It's Aditya Rameshkrishnan and Manasa Gopal. They're standing there in Antarctica and they're holding a flag that says Antarctica 2022. It's a white flag with a blue diamond logo, and the diamond logo is the Ethereum logo. I mean, just straight up, it's the Ethereum blockchain logo. I don't know why, and I looked into it a little bit.
I don't know why either.
Apparently,
sounds like they own some Ethereum and are trying to make back some of the money they spent on this trip.
Maybe. A year ago, there was a Reddit post. There was a proposed flag for Antarctica, and it was sort of more of a stylized version of the Ethereum logo, but you can kind of get away with it's not exactly the Ethereum logo. But I guess that's kind of when everything started. But now, I mean, it's literally the exact same logo of the as above, so below thing going on with the Ethereum diamond thing. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting if we're talking about
it is very interesting.
The infrastructure of the ethereal communications network that we are building.
And there's even more interesting things in the article. It goes like this. Describing oneself as being wanderlust is common these days. But when it comes to why they choose to travel, Manasa Gopal might have the most compelling reason of all. They Gonz. The Singapore-based entrepreneur is no stranger to unconventional travel experiences, from hitchhiking across Iran to living in the Sumatran jungle. This time around, the 25-year-old youth climate advocate completed. So they're an entrepreneur and a 25-year-old youth climate advocate completed a carbon negative journey from Singapore to Antarctica to study the effects of climate change. To study the effects. Yes, you read that right. From the tropical climate change, or from the tropical climate near the equator to the sub-zero temperatures of the world's southernmost continent. So why this trip? It's all part of the 2041 Climate Forces Antarctic Expedition, a program that aims to provide young leaders the opportunity to travel to Antarctica and work with global experts on climate policy, such as preventing the revision of the Madrid Protocol, which currently protects the continent from human exploitation. Manasa for just over a decade.
Hold on. We lost you for just a second.
Okay.
So
Manasa, you got me back?
Yep.
Okay. Manasa has been adopting sustainable habits into her daily life for just over a decade. And if you've had just over a decade, she's 25. let's say since she was 14, she's been adopting sustainable habits into her daily life for just over a decade, and you've had a right go at sustainable living. You'd understand that's no mean feat. Her love for science from a young age was how it all started. What are you laughing at?
A couple things. Well, what you're reading, number one, but also just real quick from something you read a couple paragraphs before. Carbon neutral journey from Singapore to Antarctica to study the effects of climate change. And then, like, you read that right, from tropical climate near the equator to sub-zero temperature of the world's southernmost continent. It's like they're the phrase climate change in sort of the political messaging thing going on is interchangeable with a change in climate from the equator to Antarctica.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the climate changes when you travel from the equator to the whatever, the southern tip or whatever. Like, that's not, is that studying climate change, that the human made climate change?
Gonz, you got it. That's exactly what I was going to point out.
Okay.
So we see climate change being used over and over and over. I say it all the time. I know people are tired of hearing about it, but it's the point. The point is actual Antarctic scientists have been saying, no, climate change is not doing these things. It's not affecting Antarctica. Stop saying that. Please stop saying that. And they're sending more and more scientists to confirm, get hard evidence that climate change.
People.
Climate change is happening in Antarctica. We're sending everybody. Nobody can do it. No. But they still use Antarctica as a victim in the sort of social justice-y sense to propagate the idea that climate change is affecting Antarctica. And right there in this article, they refer to climate change as simply traveling from Singapore to Antarctica. The climate is different in those two places. So I'm wondering.
I could study climate change from in my car to on the beach, on the shores.
You study climate change from starting in one place and you move to another place and see how it changes.
The climate in my bathroom toilet is extremely musky. I must move on to a different climate.
I am wondering if that is the sort of subtle rhetorical trickery that they're playing on us about Antarctica, because it makes no sense that they keep talking about it, and the scientists are like, stop it! Stop saying that. Anyways, the rest of this article, there's also another part of it, which is they go through her entire life. It's an incredibly boring story, actually, about how she was really young and she's so excited about saving the planet, and she's been changing her life. And here's some tips. She's giving you tips on how to save the planet to climate change. And of course, she's one of these, similar to Klaus Schwab's, young global leaders. We've got this climate force who is putting together this basically young global leaders of climate change.
I'm wondering if there's got to be a pipeline for the pipeline of the young global leaders. I'm sure she's in it, because it says here
this is part of it.
Yeah, I mean they mentioned the Singapore Green Plan 2030. Okay, that's not UN or anything. So it just keeps going.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a part of the same sort of collection of organizations, at least ideologically. And they are sort of using this person as an example of, hey, look, she went to Antarctica. She's getting a lot of these opportunities. And she experienced climate change. And she's here to tell you how to individually take responsibility for climate change. Now, I find this fascinating because even within the climate change movement, there's this virtue signaling climate change movement, which is, oh yes, I never use single-use plastics. I drive a Prius. I do these things.
The restaurants with the paper straws. Ugh.
Yes, and it's been shown and proven by some actually pretty, I consider a sort of noble pursuit by some, they would call themselves climate change activists, who have shown that individuals making individual choices to help their carbon footprint
does nothing.
actually basically useless.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way in the world that you could get enough individuals to make these changes to save the climate.
So why try to generate a behavioral change, a lifestyle change?
And they've found that the push for personal individual responsibility for climate change is funded by some of the most polluting corporations in the world, because these polluting corporations would love for all of us to individually take responsibility and think that we are polluting the planet, not the corporations. We are doing it. And so I find that this entire article, and perhaps this woman's entire career, to be a sort of puppet example for inspiring young people to change their lives in ways that cost more money, by the way. You spend more, you give more money to corporations trying to lower your own carbon footprint, and you're letting the corporations off the hook as far as pollution.
The public gets to be the scapegoat instead of the corporations that run the whole infrastructure, which is where the actual the problem of pollution and all that territorially is an issue. Like in LA, there is definitely pollution in LA.
There is local pollution.
There's gross stuff happening in the air. But it's not the people's, a person on the streets in LA changing their habits or lifestyle.
There's no place on earth, Gonz.
I understand that.
Where
I'm saying even within the
higher
ecosystem of a small city.
No, hold on. That's what I'm saying. There's no place on earth that has a more dense population of people making small choices to stop polluting than LA. It is a religion of LA to do these little virtue signaling things, and LA is still the most polluted place on the planet.
Yeah. You see all the factories and everything pumping out all the whatever, and then meanwhile you got people virtue signaling, holding up signs on the street corner. It's crazy, the hypocrisy that they've been able to establish in just the heart of the city. But you feel good because you signal your virtue and everybody gives you a cookie,
and the real polluters get to keep on polluting, and that's why I find it interesting that Antarctica is sort of symbolically being represented as the motherland, as the promised land, rather. If you are untouched, a good eco warrior, if you make all the right choices for 10 years or more, if you take all these tips and fight for the earth, you'll get a free trip to Antarctica and study it and do some very important policy work and things like this. So here's all your tips. Everybody take responsibility for climate change. We use climate change to control your behavior, and your promised land for your good virtue signaling will be you can go to Antarctica. And that's follows the trend that we've been seeing with the great white tourism and the ideological colonization. So it's not just I get to go on a fun trip. It's, now I get to go to Antarctica, the last bastion of conservation. And, with LGBTQ plus people getting married and trans people climbing mountains. Oh, the place I was born to be. I've worked my whole life taking responsibility, taking the heat off the polluting corporations, and now I get my free trip to the promised land. I think it bolsters this idea of the religion of climate change and Antarctica, the luxury tourism of Antarctica, as the great reward. The great reward for your lifetime of service.
And to your point about the climate change, what was it you said? The climate change activists are the ones that are saying that like small behavioral changes don't do anything. And
there's a very small group who are trying to
be honest about the data or whatever.
There's the data shows there's no way that enough people would make these changes on an individual level to change anything. So, you have to go to the corporations.
So given that context, the advice that Manasa gives here is start small and don't be too hard on yourself. You don't need to change your lifestyle all at once tomorrow. You can change one habit a week. When you're finding it hard, remind yourself that your little change will have a positive impact on our planet and its inhabitants, which is much more of a collectivism, sort of a new age, we're all connected to Mother Gaia kind of message than any kind of reality when it comes to
also goes against the storyline of like, it's too late, we're going to die in 12 years.
Yeah, well, that's why they got rid of Greta. She's too fatalistic. They need a little more positive activity. The next section here, which I think is great.
Yeah.
Trading NFTs for a good cause. How do I be more green? How do I help out? How do I fight climate change? Trade NFTs, baby.
Get into NFTs, baby. And it describes this NFT that she is sort of representing. They minted the world's first carbon negative NFT in Antarctica.
Woo!
Called Antarctica Against All Odds.
Prove it.
Again, which is a hilarious virtue signal.
Which makes the Ethereum blockchain thing make sense.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why they did it.
Yeah.
So anyways, there's not much more to it than that. I think the analysis is there. The rest is just, hey, this is how you become a good eco warrior, and someday you'll be led into eco heaven, which is Antarctica.
There's a picture of Manasa Gopal posing in Food Panda merchandise, and she's in
roller skates.
Dude,
I know.
There's a chance.
There's a chance what?
We can call her back. Call her home.
No, she's in the Church of Skating.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We need to get her back.
You need to go evangelize at the skate rink. Yeah.
So
there you go. Antarctica strikes again.
Yep. And sort of a wrap up of the whole thing here. This is Ellie.in. I think it's an Indian sort of fashion outlet or something. Madame Gandhi opens up about her nude polar plunge in Antarctica, climate change, new music, and more.
Oh, don't open up about that.
Who's Madame Gandhi? Do you remember who she is?
I have no idea. Who is this?
There's more to Madame Gandhi's music than foot-tapping beats and catchy rhythms. There's purpose to inspire change. With activism in her art and power in her voice, she doesn't hesitate to be the change she wants to see and push boundaries to spark important conversations. In 2015, she went viral around the world when she ran the London Marathon while bleeding freely on her period to combat the stigma associated with menstruation.
Okay, I do remember that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was before this show, but I remember it happening.
Yeah, and so she's featured, I guess, in this article, and she did a whole thing where she dove in nude into Antarctica for climate change. And
listen to this though. This is interesting. She's currently pursuing a master's degree in music, science, and technology. That's 3 masters. Is that 1 master in music science? Okay. At Stanford University's CCRMA, and has spent time in Antarctica sampling the sounds of glaciers melting for her music to create empathy and awareness around climate change.
That's right.
Rose to viral recognition once again when she polar plunged nude in Antarctica for over 3 minutes for climate solidarity. We sat down with Madame Gandhi to learn her experience. What was your experience? It was cold.
It's cold.
Really cold.
Super cold.
So a new discovery. Antarctica.
Penguins.
That's one thing I can say about our Canary Cry News Talk musical producers is that their music is more exciting than the sound of melting ice. You guys really bring the heat around here.
It's so postmodern to be like,
yes.
What's that? How did you get your sound for your album?
Why do I suddenly feel so much empathy for ice?
I suddenly want to watch Frozen over and over again. I relate to Elsa.
I must
the witch
go
of
to
the
Antarctica
ice world
and save those poor glaciers. This music just has the sound of sobbing, melting ice. Those poor glaciers. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We're going to be back on Wednesday, so make sure to be back. It's going to be a blast. But I got a couple of people I want to thank. I want to start out, actually, by thanking our producers of this episode. We could not do it without our producers, and the last-minute flood of executive producership and regular producership really means a lot. What a wonderful back to the show gift. Thank you, guys. And congratulations to Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the D Moochers. Thank you to executive producer Liberty Before Authority, executive producer Dustin H., and the rest of our producers, Sir Salmon's Night of the Fishes, Eli P., Harold D., Moore of One Lousy Petunia, Malik, Runk Smash, Sir JC, Night of the Techno Squatch, Benjamin S., James M., Veronica D., Gail M., Jackie U., Sir Casey the Shield Knight, Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, Sir James, Knight and Servant of the Lion of Judah. Thank you all so much for making this episode possible. And if you out there would like to join the revolution of the value for value model, think for a moment. Oh, I forgot Jonathan F. Thank you, Jonathan F. Think for a moment to yourself, what kind of value are you getting from this show? Perhaps you haven't really thought about it. Perhaps we are simply just another podcast on your list, and you have lots of other great podcasts. And, they play advertisements, perhaps, and you just don't mind that because you've been listening to advertisements your whole life. Well, it is more than simply the act of playing or not playing advertisements. It is the idea that we can bring value to the lives of our listeners in such a way that does not subject them to subtle manipulations of their psychology to become a part of the economic machine of this world, but indeed we can bring value to them. They can recognize that value and join a revolution that keeps independent media truly independent. And that means the listeners of the independent media also independent from the manipulation thereof. And if you want to participate in the value for value model, I promise you it is very empowering, and it is one way out of several to fight back against being dehumanized by an industry that does not see you as a human being. And if you want to become a producer of the show, head on over to patreon.com/CCNT or CanaryCryRadio.com/support. CanaryCryRadio.com/support. That's right. And even more so, consider heading to CanaryCrySupplyDrop.com to sign up to support us on a monthly basis and receive awesome things in return. I appreciate that very much. But we also have a few more producers to thank, starting with our Clippies. Thanks. That's right. Thank you to Emsworth, Faylivern, and Epsilon for managing and growing the Canary Cry Clips channel, which has smaller, shareable, careable clips of the show that will be poignant and valuable, not just to you, but also to those in your life. Go check it out and subscribe. Canary Cry Clips channel. Thank you to the Clippies. Thank you very much. And we also could not do that without the timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
Thank you very much to our timestampers. Friday's timestamps were done by Christine C. Goes a long way to keeping our back end supported and organized. Thank you very much, Christine C.
Thank you, Christine C.
Head on over to CanaryCryMeetups.com.
CanaryCry Meetup.
Yeah, CanaryCryMeetups.com is a place that you can find all the places that Canarians are meeting up in person, in real life. It's really incredible. And you should join them, because meeting up in person, look, you know the value of true fellowship, fellowshipping, meeting up, eating, enjoying the company of real life human beings is very important. But, if that's a little bit too much, we also have the Zoom meetups happening every third Saturday. If you go to CanaryCry.Meetups.com, you can find the info on that. We also have the Los Angeles, California meetup, the infiltration of the Church of Skaten. That's right. Canarians are going to be going roller skating in LA. It's going to be very fun. I think the date is TBD, but if you go to CanaryCry.Meetups.com, you'll find the contact info. Send an email to ladybhats@yahoo.com. And I think everybody's deciding on a date together. We also have the Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania meetup. And that's on the 9th of July. There's also a few meetups in the wings.
No, we got a note from Dwight B. We haven't updated the San Antonio, Texas, June 2022 meetup flyer. We got it here. I'm trying to update it now.
That's great. Yeah,
so,
that was one of them that was in the wings. So, yes, we are going to be putting up another San Antonio meetup. I know there was a Missouri meetup being talked about. There was another one. I forget who it was. But so there's all sorts of meetups. Go to CanaryCry.Meetups.com to keep track of them. Find one near you and go. And if there's not one near you, put one on yourself. I mean, that's the easy part. The easiest thing to do is just put on your own meetup. Pick a time and a place. Send it in to us, and we will tell the world. So do that. It's very important. And I will see you at the meetup.
There you will.
This is fun.
Did you do reviews on Friday?
I did. There were no new reviews.
There
are new ones now.
There are new ones now. An entire week of 0 reviews. That is disappointing.
Yeah, a couple of M's came in though. Looks like so.
So here's the thing, folks. We need ratings and reviews, and it takes just a couple minutes of your time. The extremely large majority of you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts right now, and if you haven't left a rating and a review, shame on you. But
Whoa.
If you could leave one for us, it takes 2 minutes. You're already listening. You're on the app. Just hit that little button. Leave a rating and a review. It's very important. It's something that we cannot do for ourselves. You have to do it for us. Those ratings and reviews, when we get 5 or more of them a week, it activates the algorithms, and the internet just starts sharing our show with people who've never heard it before. It is a very effective way to reveal the show to new listeners, and it's all because of you. So head on over to Apple Podcasts. Every Apple device has it. It's a little purple icon. Click on that. Search for Canary Cry News Talk. Subscribe and then review. It's very important. 5 or more. But take it from Gonz's grumpy uncle.
Ugly, horrible person. You must leave review on iTunes. And if you do not, you are ugly, horrible person. You bring shame to family. Ugly, horrible person.
That's right. But don't worry. If we get 5 or more, you'll make me go, ooh, ooh. That's right. Okay. You can also post about us on social media. I want to see it, folks. Post some of those links from the Canary Cry Clips channel. Make sure to use hashtag CCNT or tag one of us. You can tag Canary Cry News Talk, Canary Cry Radio, Basil, Gonz, whoever you want to tag, just do it. And we would really appreciate that. Again, it's all the algorithms, If we are not using these shameful robots to our own benefit, what's even the point? And if I see that, I'll give you some shout outs as well. There you go. Let's see. I've completely lost my document. There we go.
You've covered everything. It's just
I've covered everything.
We should share
We're
the
done.
show.
If you are a creative person, if you create art or music or jingles or whatever, create something for the show. I've noticed we've had a slowdown of new people, and I think maybe it's because I've moved the call for this so far into the outro. So I'm going to start putting it further up, And hopefully, if there's any new artists, look, I love our current artists and everything, but we got to keep the ecosystem moving around here. If you feel inspired, if you're a creative person, create jingles, create art, create music, full-on tracks for the Canary Cry mixtape, send them on in to CanaryCry.Radio@gmail.com. We will feature them on the show, and it's fun. It's empowering for you. It's incredibly enriching for us and the rest of the producers. It's a good time. So do that. Other than that, send the show to your friends. Send it to your family. Send it to your dog. People don't realize dogs love podcasts, even if they can't. You don't have any thumbs to use like a phone or something. This is just something that dogs love. I know you don't know this, but they've told me the propaganda rooster is here, and he wants to share all of his propaganda with your dog. But you can share it with regular humans too. You don't have to share it in the normal ways with social media or texting or whatever. You could do it in a more creative way. Lots of people like to find new, creative, exciting ways to share the show. And they're often incredibly effective. One of these incredibly effective ways that you can share the show is something that I already know about, and I'm certainly not stalling to try to think of off the top of my head. But let's go back to the dog thing. Here's the thing. Everybody loves dogs. You take dogs for walks. You're walking down the street. You're walking down the park with your dog, and somebody else has a dog, and you know what those dogs do. They immediately run over to each other, start sniffing each other's butts, saying hello, and you're stuck there to sort of kind of awkwardly introduce yourself to that owner's dog, to that dog's owner. And here's the thing. If you put a little button, I've invented, you're inventing, you do this, I've thought of it, you got to make it. I call them dog pants. They're pants for your dog. It's not just dog pants or pants for your dog, but inside these dog pants is a little button right where the nose goes when these dogs say hello. And when your dog gets sniffed, boom, it hits a little button, starts a podcast. Your dog becomes a mobile, cute, furry podcast machine. And in that awkward moment where you're supposed to introduce yourself to the other dog's owner, instead you could just stare at them and smile as Canary Cry News Talk starts blasting at full volume from your dog's butt. And if nothing else, it will be a conversation starter, and you'll have an opportunity to tell them about Canary Cry News Talk. And the scales will fall from their eyes. They will see that the mainstream corporate news media has been lying to them, creating their worldview whole cloth at the behest of the lizard people.
You need to do the clues.
Oh, I forgot to do the clues. We're going to save the clues.
Oh,
we're saving the clues.
All right, we'll do it at the top
calling
of the show?
an audible. We're calling an audible. We're going to do it it's going to be good. That's okay. This doesn't put the schedule far too back. You heard me. And we will do the clues on the next show. Thank you for reminding me. I apologize for forgetting. But let this be, I'm just going to have to assume the Holy Spirit stole it from my mind, because I do know that there are 2 code books that are arriving to their respective owners in the next 2 days.
Oh, so, okay. So, yeah. All right.
If that's one of you thank the Lord for distracting me and not letting me do the clues. So we're letting you in on the game. And y'all can still join the game. Go to Canary Cry, supplydrop.com. Sign up. We'll send you the code book. All right. You heard the dog thing? That's what you're going to do. Do the dog thing. Share the show. We like to call it rattling cages. And if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Stella.
Wow, I do apologize. So many people in the chat were ready for the clues, and it just didn't happen.
Okay. We will definitely have them next show. I apologize.
Are we going to do
Prepare
2,
yourself.
or are we just shifting one over?
We're going to do 1. We had some flexibility in the schedule, so we just burned one of our flexibility days, but that's okay. Okay, there you go. Gonz, you got any last words?
I just want to say that we should mark this moment as an occasion when the show devolved to dog farts. Thank you for being here, producers,
let it be known.
listeners.
Let it be known.
I mean, it's not
Today,
often
day.
we devolve to farts, but we went there.
It is not often,
No.
and for that,
I'm actually impressed.
You're welcome.
Yeah, good job. You had to call an audible, really reach into the playbook there, and landed on the dog farts. Good job.
We're having fun. Thanks everybody for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
This is the way. Give me a break. Feed him more.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Can I tell you a sort of a twisted pleasure that I have?
It's okay. No.
Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap.
It takes time. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. It's like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love peeling off that big old lint trap, rolling it into a ball, peeling off that big old lint trap, just like throwing it in the trash, really. Should I be saving this?
No.
You could knit it into a scarf or something?
No.
Surely. It's very soft.
No.
This would make really good fire starter. You are a weird prepper. Hoarder. Like a weird guy, man. Weird prepper. Not normal, like a weird guy, man. Clearing out that lint trap.
No.
Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. That lint trap. I know it's gross, folks.
A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. It's like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love that. I am constantly having to remind myself to wear a pink shirt for the show. Constantly having to remind myself, save the dryer lint, use it as fire starter, knit a scarf, save the dryer lint. Wives in the cosmos, children in the space lane.
I'm an adult in a spaceship.
Supersonic space plane screamed to life and the vehicle swooped upward. On board, the passengers experienced 3 G's of force from the burst of extreme acceleration and watched the blue sky fade into space.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Oh, yeah.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Yes, do it, Richard. Do it, Jeff. Do it for humanity.
To all you kids down there, I was once a child with a dream. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship.
He can accomplish it. You can too. Big windows, cool. Rocket ship, cool. Space plane, cool.
Nukes,
cool.
Blowing stuff up,
cool. Space plane, astronaut, rocket ship.
CBS anchor.
We have Bezos, a human. Just look at him. Go to the bathroom in bags. He can go to the bathroom in the cosmos. It changed everything. Wives in space, children in the cosmos. With your best friend brother. Wives in the cosmos, children in the space lane.
We are headed to space.
CBS anchor.
Because of the great love our God has for us, because of his mercy and compassion, even when we were dead in our sins, he has made us alive in Christ. By his grace, we have been saved and risen up with Christ. This is not our own doing. It is a gift from God. We are his creation, fashioned through Christ for good works which he had prepared for us beforehand. Remember that we were once separated from Christ and strangers to his covenant, having no hope and without God in the world. But now, those who were lost have been brought near by the blood of Christ. He has brought us together and has broken down the wall of enmity. Because of this, we are no longer strangers, but fellow citizens of the household of God, which is built on the foundation of the prophets and the cornerstone of Christ Jesus. He gave us shepherds and teachers to build up the body of Christ, to attain spiritual maturity, that we may no longer be tossed to and fro by human craftiness and deceitful schemes. Rather, spreading the truth with love, we are to grow like the one who is the head of the body, that is, like Christ. Therefore, put aside falsehood and speak truth with your neighbor, for we are all members of one body. Give no opportunity to the adversary, and do not let vain words come from your mouths, but speak only what is good for strengthening those who hear. The Holy Spirit of God has sealed you for the day of redemption. Therefore, be kind and forgive one another, just as God, through Christ, has forgiven you. Become imitators of God, as beloved children among their Father. Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them. Be strong in the Lord, and equip yourself with the full armor of God, that you may be able to withstand the schemes of the adversary. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may withstand in the evil day. Fasten on the belt of truth, and secure the breastplate of righteousness. Bind your feet with the preparation which is given by the gospel. Always keep ready the shield of faith, with which you can suppress the evil one. Put on the helmet of salvation, and carry the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God.
CanaryCry.Radio.com/support